founding fathers were talking. They didn't put if you're concerned or if you're uncomfortable with something that's impeachable. Normally, it's like a high crime or there's a law broken or something.
Bribery, fraud, those things.
Did those poll well? Those are the good polling.
It's not about polling.
Oh, it's absolutely about polling.
Character.
It's absolutely about. Okay, we'll go back to the Clinton years.
Too
bad Hillary and Bill aren't back in the White House for character.
The argument about Hillary or Bill Clinton.
You have a choice, one or the other.
It's so irrelevant.
It is
to this discussion.
Okay. All right.
It is.
It doesn't.
It has nothing to do with it.
Most people think you probably need more to actually, reverse an election with 63 million votes.
And that's what they're doing, and they're investigating in Washington.
All right.
As they should. We'll see where they land.
Okay, as they should. Okay.
Meantime, Becky Quick has a very big interview. It is just minutes away, and we are going to get to her now. She has flown all the way from Los Angeles to the Big Apple for this big interview.
Back. This is where she lives and works.
I know.
I saw her already.
Just to get back home with you guys.
Yeah.
I know. I saw you guys both already this morning.
You're home, but
it's
not
been a fun
here.
morning already.
Yeah.
I'm home, but not there because I am
here.
here at a Target store. I'll be there in just a little bit. I'm at a Target store on 34th Street right now because Target is getting ready to report its quarterly earnings. And we're going to be sitting down with Brian Cornell, Target's CEO, to talk all about what he's seeing, what happened in the most recent quarter, and what he expects to have happening in the holiday season. So big interview coming up. By the way, do you guys know, there's Brian Cornell right now. He's standing behind us. He's hiding because we've been on camera for this. Have you guys ever heard of a hurricane shot? Hurricane shot is what we're talking about here. That's what was going on below. Very, very awkward trying to figure out how to hang out in that. You guys, I don't know if you've done it yet. I think, Joe, they had you on it for ribs. But Brian Cornell will be joining us coming up in just a few minutes, and we'll talk all about Target's earnings when we come back in just a moment.
Executive Ed just...
On 3, our unlimited data is actually unlimited, like 4 reels. That means you can scroll and scroll and scroll through all the Black Friday deals.
Because we have no speed limits, no data caps, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost.
Wow, so many savings.
Our Black Friday deals are now on. Save up to £480. Switch to 3, in-store or online. See 3.co.uk/unlimited-data. Savings on selected phones on 24-month contracts. Ends 5th of December. Terms apply.
If you're planning on driving this weekend, expect delays on the A406 North Circular Road. There'll be road closures between Tottenham and Edmonton from 10 p.m. on Friday the 22nd of November to 5 a.m. on Monday the 25th of November, while we carry out essential maintenance and repairs. All roads in the surrounding area will be extremely busy, so please allow more time for your journey and expect delays in the area. Plan ahead and check alternative routes at tfl.gov.uk. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
At Amazon this Christmas, you'll find loads of gifting ideas for everyone. You can get the Dell XPS touchscreen laptop, Philips Lumia Prestige IPL, and the Fitbit Versa 2 smartwatch. All with low prices and free UK delivery on eligible orders over £20. So there'll be more, and more.
Oh, how did you guess?
Amazon, delivering all you need this Christmas for less.
Everybody needs somebody.
I wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish me a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Don't forget yourself this Christmas. Get 90 gig of data for the price of 30 on the stunning Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Search O2 Christmas deals.
O2 Refresh Credit by Telefonica UK Limited. Contract eligibility and terms apply.
Each day you grab the keys, pop them in the ignition, and off you go without a second thought. But what if the unpredictable happens and you wake up with something like a flat battery? You'd have been better off if someone had checked it all out, right? But that's going to cost you. What if the cost was nothing? Book a free checkup online and our experts will complete a 29-point visual check and top up vital fluids, no matter what make of vehicle you own. And we're so confident in our checks, we'll also give you 20% off your next service. How's that for peace of mind? Visit your local Vauxhall retailer and quote VX20. T's and C's apply.
The puck drops. 12 players face off to win. The suspense is pure torture, but you wouldn't miss this for the world. TuneIn brings you every minute of the NHL season. Listen live to hockey when it matters most on TuneIn.
Target earnings are out. Let's get to Becky quick with the numbers. Hi, Becky.
Hey, Joe. Okay, Target is out with its earnings for the third quarter. It looks like the company came in with earnings on an adjusted basis of $1.36. That is well above what the street was expecting. Street was looking for $1.19. Revenue, a little better than the street had been anticipating, $18.7 billion versus the $18.49 billion the street was looking for. You can see the stock is already reacting to this news. It's up by 5.7%, and that's before we even tell you about the full year numbers for this. Full year, the company is now looking for $6.25 to $6.45. The previous guidance had been for $5.90 to $6.25, so that's a pretty big lift on those full year numbers. Street was at $6.18 that they were looking for the full year, so it was at the high end of the guidance that they had previously given, but obviously the guidance is well above that number right now, $6.25 to $6.45. And again, the third quarter number is $1.36 versus $1.19. If you look through what was happening there, it sounds like traffic and comp store sales were very strong. Third quarter comp store sales, 4.5% versus the street's estimates of 3.6%. Now, running through some of those things, they say for the third quarter, the comp store sales reflects growth of 2.8% growth in stores and 1.7% point contribution from digital sales. The third quarter comp digital channel sales were up by 31%, and that comes after gains of 49% last year. And maybe what's pretty key in some of this, too, is that same-day fulfillment services, things like order pickup, drive up, and shipped, SHIPT, which is their service that you can go through and get same-day delivery and some of these things, that accounted for 80% of Target's digital comparable sales growth. The traffic was up by 3.1%. They said that was driven by increases in traffic both in stores and in digital channels. Very strong numbers coming in from Target, especially when you compare this with what we heard yesterday from both Home Depot and Kohl's. Home Depot, obviously the reason that the Dow was down. Home Depot declined yesterday because of what they said. They hadn't seen the gains that they had anticipated from the investments they've been making online. Target is one of those rare retailers where they have seen this pay off. Saw this also with Walmart, but Target right now, shares are up by 7.75%. So some huge numbers, some huge gains that we're seeing based on better than expected numbers for this quarter and raising guidance for the full year as well. Guys, I'll send it back over to you.
Yeah, easily let's see, so in new high territory, isn't it? All time.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be priced in.
The all-time high was $1.14 and change, or $114 and change.
Yeah, so
yeah, $114.83, I think, was the all-time high. Where are we right now? $119.50. So that is well above the all-time high that we had seen to date.
Yes.
And a gain of about $8.83 just right now, 8%.
Okay, we are going to come back to Becky in just a minute because she's got Target Chairman and CEO Brian Cornell, who's
Interactive Brokers pays 1.06.
It's hard to find a children's gift which doesn't have a short shelf life. They'll eat all the chocolates in 5 minutes, finish their video games by the end of the week, and grow out of their trainers before you know it. So instead of buying them something just for Christmas, buy them something that's for life. Premium bonds from NS&I. Every month they'll have the chance to win cash prizes. And now you can buy premium bonds for any child. Start their savings journey from just £25. Search Gift Premium Bonds to find out more.
At Lidl, we're big on those little reasons to be jolly. Like our delicious Favorina all-butter mini Stollen bites for just $1.99. And 6 deluxe mince pies for just $1.35. Big on a Christmas you can believe in. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores excludes NI.
On 3, our unlimited data is actually unlimited, like for reals. That means you can scroll and scroll and scroll through all the Black Friday deals.
Because we have no speed limits, no data caps, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost.
Wow, so many savings.
Our Black Friday deals are now on. Save up to £480. Switch to 3, in-store or online. See 3.co.uk/unlimited-data. Savings on selected phones on 24-month contracts. Ends 5th of December. Terms apply.
Dell celebrates your small business this November with early Black Friday deals. Our biggest Black Friday ever starts right now. Save up to 50% on business tech, including Windows 10 computers, powerful servers, and the latest award-winning monitors, all with free delivery. Call 0800 085 4878 to talk to a Dell advisor today. That's 0800 085 4878. Or visit dell.co.uk/SB deals for Dell's biggest Black Friday ever. Limited time online offer. Hurry while stocks last. T's and C's apply.
Christmas is such a magical time of year for little ones. But why should the big kids miss out? This season, take the family to Santa's Wonderlab at West London Audi. You get to test drive the latest Audi models, and the children get to test drive the latest toys with Santa. There's something for the whole family. Visit santaswonderlab.com to find out more about how to register for your place at Santa's Wonderlab this Christmas.
At Amazon this Christmas, you'll find loads of gifting ideas for everyone. You can get the Dell XPS touchscreen laptop, Philips Lumia Prestige IPL, and the Fitbit Versa 2 smartwatch. All with low prices and free UK delivery on eligible orders over £20. So there'll be more, and more.
Oh, how did you guess?
Amazon, delivering all you need this Christmas for less.
Everybody needs somebody.
I wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish me a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Don't forget yourself this Christmas. Get 90 gig of data for the price of 30 on the stunning Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Search O2 Christmas deals.
O2 refresh credit by Telefonica UK Limited. Contract eligibility and terms apply.
This is the sound of festive fun in London. You want to keep your savings for the things you love this Christmas, not a new boiler. We're with you. So our boilers come with 2 years interest-free credit to keep your savings for a Merry Christmas. You'll get a 5-year British Gas warranty, and now we can quote by video call evenings or weekends. Get a quote by the 30th of November and get £150 off a new boiler, or £450 off for existing home care customers. Search British Gas New Boiler. Conditions apply.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Squawk Box. We are here with a Squawk Box exclusive interview. Brian Cornell, the chairman and CEO of Target, sitting down with us just moments after the release of the company's earnings for the third quarter. Those numbers coming in far better than had been anticipated. The company came in with earnings of $1.36 a share on an adjusted basis. That compares with the street's expectations of $1.19. The company also beat in terms of revenue and is raising its full-year guidance somewhat significantly. It's talking about a range it sees of somewhere between $6.25 and $6.45 a share for the full year. The previous guidance had been for $5.90 to $6.20. The street was at the high end of that at $6.18, but obviously that range is well above that number right now. Sitting down with us right now is Brian Cornell. And Brian, congratulations. I'm looking at the stock right now. It's up by over $9 to an all-time high, well above an all-time high. I think $114.83 was the previous all-time high, and now you're looking at the stock, which if they bring it back up, I'll tell you in a second, it's above $118, though. What do you think?
Well, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Thanks for joining us here at Target this morning.
So what do you think of these numbers? You're actually trading at $121 right now. Surprised you to see the street's reaction on this, or kind of what you were anticipating?
Well, it's certainly gratifying. And I think the team has done such an exceptional job of delivering really consistent results for really 10 quarters now. So it's a great day for the team. I think they've done an exceptional job of executing a strategy that we've had in place for several years, and I think we're rewarding shareholders.
In terms of the investments that you've put into this, so much of it has been raising wages, reinvesting in stores, building more stores out. But then I think the big deal also is what you've done with digital. Your ability to now ship to people same day in a lot of cases, allow people to pick up in the store or even pick up curbside. When did you really believe that that's the way you had to go? And is this kind of proof of what you put through?
Well, Becky, we focused a lot on bringing great inspiration to our guests when they shop our physical store or they're online, making it really easy, and all those fulfillment options, order online, pick up in store, or drive into one of our parking lots, we'll put it in your trunk, or have a ship shopper come to your home, and then making sure we deliver great value. So when we get that balance between inspiration, ease, and value, I think our guest is rewarding us both by shopping more in store and also online.
What are you seeing right now in terms of the consumer? We're heading into the holiday shopping season. That's the most important quarter for any retailer. What do you see in the stores across the country?
Yeah, I think we continue to see a very healthy consumer environment. Obviously, a very strong labor environment. Unemployment continues to be very low. The percentage of consumers that are in the workforce continues to grow. Wages are rising. Consumer confidence is strong. And all the indicators right now would say this is going to be a very solid holiday season. Indications are somewhere between 3 and 4% growth for retail shopping in the holiday season. So we want to make sure we're there to take market share during the holiday season and delight all the Target guests who shop our stores and shop online.
Where do you think you'll be stealing market share from? What competitors?
Yeah, well, when you think about our business, it's fairly unique because of this multi-category portfolio. So we've got a big apparel business. About 20% of our business is apparel. Apparel was up over 10% in the third quarter. So we're clearly delivering great value and quality in apparel, and we're seeing that rewarded by more trips into our apparel department and more shopping online. We've got a big home business. Clearly, when it comes to holiday season, electronics and toys are a big part of our assortment. But so is beauty. That's one of our fastest growing categories. Essentials are really important, and we're seeing a great reaction to our new brand, Good & Gather, in food and beverage. So we have an opportunity to take market share in apparel and home, in toys and electronics, in essentials and beauty, and in food and beverage. And that's really kind of the magic of our business.
But who are you stealing the market share from? Are these shoppers who used to be going to the malls, but now they're buying a lot more clothes here at Target?
Well, it seems to be. Obviously, traffic was up. And while there's a lot of important factoids when you went through the report, traffic being up over 3% is one of the most important indicators for me. When I look at the health of our business, when we have traffic growing, I know we're winning footsteps. We're getting more footsteps into our stores and more clicks to our site. And that's really the indicator of a healthy business for us.
You have 6 fewer days. Every retailer does.
Everyone
fewer
does.
days between Thanksgiving and Christmas this year, which is usually a pretty heavy hurdle to try and jump over, just because you need days to get people in the stores. If you're going to have 6 fewer days, inevitably it's going to be a tougher comp. What do you do to try and fight that?
Well, we've been planning for it all season. So it's not a surprise. We know it's going to be a very intense shopping season. Every day counts. So we've really made sure we're investing in our team. So $50 million of additional wages during the holiday season. Yeah. We put a lot of time into training, 500,000 additional hours of training to make sure our teams are ready for the holiday season. We'll have twice as many team members working on same-day fulfillment. So we're really making sure that from a team standpoint, we're investing in that important asset. And our teams are ready. We'll be staffed and there and ready to deliver against the guest needs.
That's not cheap to get more people who are working, paying them higher wages, making sure that you can deliver more things on same-day delivery. And yet, I think your margins must have improved pretty significantly, at least in the third quarter. When you look at it, the revenue beat by a little bit by what the street was expecting, but earnings per share beat by a lot. What happened? Where are you seeing margin improvement?
Well, you saw our operating income grow by over 20%. EPS was up 25%. And I think it's the balance between really strong top-line growth, the margin mix in our business, a great growth rate in categories like apparel, strength in home, in beauty, but also, we're changing the way we fulfill. So unlike, many others, a big part of our fulfillment is that same-day offering, where our stores are really at the center of how we fulfill our digital experience. So,
do you make money on that, though?
Those economics, when it's delivered by our stores, when it's order online and pick up in a store, or it's drive up, those look a lot more like store economics. So we talked about this actually last year in March at our financial committee event. When we go from shipping from a DC to fulfilling from our stores,
distribution center, to fulfilling in your stores,
about 40% of the cost goes away. Huh. But when it's order online and pick up in store, or drive up, or fulfill by ship, about 90% of the cost goes away. So those economics look a lot like store economics, and we certainly like that, but importantly, so does our guest. Yeah. They like the convenience, the ease, the fact that they know they can order online and conveniently come by a Target store, and we'll have it ready for them.
Let's talk about store economics, because we're sitting in a store on 34th Street in New York City. It's one of 11 stores, I believe, you have right now?
We've got quite a few now in New York.
In New York City. People thought that it was going to be impossible to bring a big discounter into New York City and still make it work from an economics perspective. You and I took a tour around just about a half an hour ago and looked at a lot of the things that are here. Shocked to see food downstairs and how much of the assortment that you can bring in. But how do you actually make the economics work here?
Yeah. Well, one, there was great demand for the brand in a market like New York City. So we're sitting here in Herald Square. Thousands of people walk by the store every day. And when we opened up a couple of years ago, the demand was enormous. And for us, it's bringing the best of Target into a smaller format. So we've got to curate the best of our assortment, understand what the local neighborhood is looking for, but it's been really well received. And these are our most productive stores anywhere in America. The sales per square foot, really strong. And
so you're paying higher rents, but you're making up for it because there's so much foot
greater
traffic that comes through.
Absolutely.
You pointed out that the makeup department downstairs vies, it's number 1 or number 2, depending on the day, in terms of the makeup sales
in
for
the entire
United States for your sales. We're next door to a Sephora and we're across the street from Macy's. How does that work?
Well, again, it gets back to the inspiration, the experience we're providing the guest who shops the store, great value, great assortment. It's the brands they're looking for, but we've got great service. We're investing in our team here. It's a great experience when you walk in, but we pay it off with amazing value.
You guys have a lot of national brands. We saw Godiva downstairs. Yeah. We saw a lot of the national brands that you are offering here. There's been speculation that with Nike stepping away from Amazon, you all might be able to be a great retailer, a place for them to be. Have you had any conversations with Nike about selling Nike products here?
Well, I mean, we're always talking to great national brands. I mean, we just recently announced an extended partnership with Disney, where we put 25 Disney stores inside of a Target, and next year we'll add probably 40 more. So we've always had great branded partnerships. Starbucks is in most of our locations. We've got a great partnership with CVS. People like Disney. We've added Levi's to our collection. So we're very selective, but we have great national brand partnerships that complement our own brands each and every day.
So is that a yes or no on Nike?
We'll see.
In other words, you're not going to tell me just yet, right?
Probably won't tell you today.
Okay.
But again, we're always looking for great partnerships, and we know our guests love great national brands. So it's that balance between great own brands, brands like Universal Thread, what we do with A New Day, Goodfellow for Men's, and what we're doing with national brands like Levi's and other great partnerships that we'll continue to build.
Brian, you see numbers like this with your margins improving and people are going to say, wait a second, I thought you had a lot of goods that were tariffed because you've got to do some sourcing out of China. How do you handle the tariffs? What kind of impact has it had?
Well, we talked about this before, Becky. Our team's been working for years now to make sure that we have a very sophisticated vendor matrix, that we have options to offset some of these challenges. And this is really a tribute to the work our merchants have done, our sourcing teams, to make sure we can balance some of the tariff pressures and still deliver great value for our guests.
How much of your merchandise is sourced from China?
I mean, it's a significant portion, but we've also
25%.
But we've also diversified, where we source. So we've got, a very diversified sourcing matrix. We've made sure that we've worked with our vendors to try to offset some of those costs, but right now, we feel like we're well prepared to manage this, tariff challenge as we go into the fourth quarter.
What do you watch in terms of Washington signals? The market's watching every day. Although I have to say, the moves we see in the Dow based on the headlines seem to be smaller and smaller every time. How closely are you guys watching it? How do you kind of prepare?
We watch it every hour of every day, and obviously, it's been moving each and every day. There's different headlines. We're trying to make sure we're staying on top of that. But right now, we're focused on executing our holiday plans, and we've got to make sure we're looking into the horizon for what's going to happen in 2020. But we feel like we've got great plans in place for the holiday. The guest is rewarding us with more traffic and more visits to our site. Our teams have done a great job in preparation for the holiday season, and we think we're ready to win.
Brian, you say that wages are strong in America. Is that a good thing from your perspective because it means people have more money to spend in your stores, or is it a difficult thing for you because you've got to pay workers more to be here?
I think it's a great thing. I think this healthy consumer environment where people are seeing wages rising. We made a decision several years ago to go to a starting minimum wage of $15 by 2020. We're attracting great talent. We want to be a preferred place to work. We want to be a destination in retail. So it's allowing us to attract and retain great talent. And I continue to think the best investment we've made is our investment in our team.
Brian, I want to thank you for joining us. Obviously, those investments are paying off today.
Thank you.
Again, if you want to take a look at the stock today, after Target came in with earnings that were better than expected, raised the guidance for the full year, you're going to see that the last trade on this is up by about $8.65. It's a gain of 7.8%. Target right now trading at $119.50 a share. Before this, the all-time high for the stock had been $114.83. Brian Cornell is the chairman and CEO of Target, and we want to thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. Have a good holiday.
Great to see you. You too. Guys, we will send it back to you in the studio.
Great. Thank you, Becky. Great interview. We're going to talk a lot more about Target throughout the morning. Up next, guest host Mohamed Al-Erian is going to join us to talk about the health of the consumer and the markets. We're right back after this.
Still to come, one of the most powerful executives in retail. Becky's exclusive interview with the CEO of Walmart is straight ahead. And later, the CEO of Activision Blizzard speaks out on the weak guidance for the holiday quarter. Squawk Box will be right back.
Can you customize the S&P 500 to meet your...
On 3, our unlimited data is actually unlimited, like for reals. That means you can scroll and scroll and scroll through all the Black Friday deals.
Because we have no speed limits, no data caps, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost.
Wow, so many savings.
Our Black Friday deals are now on. Save up to £480. Switch to 3, in-store or online. See 3.co.uk/unlimited-data. Savings on selected phones on 24-month contracts. Ends 5th of December. Terms apply.
If you're planning on driving this weekend, expect delays on the A406 North Circular Road. There'll be road closures between Tottenham and Edmonton from 10 p.m. on Friday the 22nd of November to 5 a.m. on Monday the 25th of November, while we carry out essential maintenance and repairs. All roads in the surrounding area will be extremely busy, so please allow more time for your journey and expect delays in the area. Plan ahead and check alternative routes at tfl.gov.uk. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
At Amazon this Christmas, you'll find loads of gifting ideas for everyone. You can get the Dell XPS touchscreen laptop, Philips Lumia Prestige IPL, and the Fitbit Versa 2 smartwatch. All with low prices and free UK delivery on eligible orders over £20. So there'll be more, and more.
Oh, how did you guess?
Amazon, delivering all you need this Christmas for less.
Everybody needs somebody.
I wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish me a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Don't forget yourself this Christmas. Get 90 gig of data for the price of 30 on the stunning Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Search O2 Christmas deals.
O2 refresh credit by Telefonica UK Limited. Contract eligibility and terms apply.
Pascal gobbles up the rebound and slams it down.
Get your favorite NBA team right here on TuneIn.
A step back, deep three is up and in!
Search NBA on TuneIn and hear all the action. The NBA lives on TuneIn.
Hey, NFL fan, can't watch the game? Can't be there? No biggie. With your TuneIn Premium membership, you already have an all-access pass to every team and every game in the league. Amazing, right?
Steps up, floats it towards, at the goal line, it's intercepted!
Listen live as the action unfolds or on demand when you can. Anytime, anywhere, all season long.
Right side, it is caught, it is in for the right side for the touchdown.
Search NFL today.
Want to hear about the latest and greatest things to listen to on TuneIn? For reminders of the biggest live sports games, debates, and breaking news stories, follow @TuneIn on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay connected with the audio that matters to you.
Welcome back to Squawk Box this morning. What a difference a day makes. This time just yesterday we were looking at big losses for Home Depot and Kohl's. Today Lowe's and Target are now sharply higher on earnings beats. I want to talk about the consumer and the market rally. Here with us now is the one and only Mohamed Al-Erian, Chief Economic Advisor at Allianz. Great to see you, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
It's a tale of the tape, the tale of 2 days. I don't know what's going on here. Home Depot, I think, was that just a head fake in terms of what was going on with the larger retail space right now?
So it wasn't just Home Depot. It was Home Depot and Kohl's that disappointed. And it's really important to see the Target's number this morning. You know, my own view is that every input into consumer spending remains solid.
Right.
The labor market in particular continues to outperform.
So when you looked at the Home Depot numbers or the Kohl's numbers, you said those are Home Depot Kohl-specific problems, not something larger.
I hope these are Kohl and Home Depot specific, but let's see what Target comes out.
A little bit of both, and there are specific things about Target that make it attractive.
Yeah, I'm sure that if you look at the numbers, they're capturing market share. But I think if you step back,
right,
there's no reason to expect the consumer to have weakened significantly. Right. Income is still going up at 3% in terms of wages. We're still creating quite a few jobs. There is some softness, but nothing significant at all. So I'm honestly not worried about the consumer. I'm much more worried about what's happening in the rest of the world than I am about the U.S.
And you're worried about what's happening in the rest of the world?
I am. I think this romance with it's all bottoming out and that Europe is fine is premature. I think we're going to see another leg down in Europe.
And therefore, we'll see a leg down here too?
Not necessarily, but do not listen to people who keep urging you to rotate out of the U.S. in favor of international markets. I know that the valuation gap is enormous.
Right.
Enormous.
No, it feels from multiple perspective crazy to be here relative to there.
Correct, but you could have said the same thing over the last few years, and I've said not yet, not yet, not yet. Right. Okay, because the U.S. does better in relative terms.
Okay, we're going to continue this conversation with Mohammed, who will be with us for the rest of the
10 years, like got down to 1.7 again.
Yeah, 174 this morning.
That's weird. Just a 185.
And we should talk about the yield curve. The yield curve started to flatten again.
Oh, no. That's the last thing we need, isn't it? At this point, right before Christmas. Coming up, a lot more with Mohammed, who's with us for the rest of the show, but I have a feeling you're going to be pushed out of that seat. You'll be okay with that?
I'm sure I will. I'm the residual here, remember?
Yes, you are. But next, Trump is visiting, President Trump is visiting Austin, Texas with Apple, who wrote this, with Tim Cook. We'll examine that relationship and how Cook has managed to thread the needle between President Trump and China. You're watching Squawk Box on CNBC.
Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. You'll get interviews, original content, and behind-the-scenes access. Look for us on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. And subscribe to Squawk Pod today.
I love Black Friday. Busy shops, crazy people, average deals. It's so much fun.
Said no one ever. So be savvy and do Black Friday the easy way with Smarty. Grab a huge 100 gig data SIM for just £17 a month on the Mega Plan. And with no credit checks, speed restrictions or contracts tying you down, you can kick back with the best Black Friday deal around. Now that's Smarty. Search Smarty Mobile to find out more, but hurry, as this deal won't be around for long. See smarty.co.uk for terms.
At Lidl, we're big on those little reasons to be jolly. Like our delicious Favorina all butter mini Stollen bites for just $1.99. And 6 deluxe mince pies for just $1.35. Big on a Christmas you can believe in. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores excludes an eye.
If you're planning on driving this weekend, expect delays on the A406 North Circular Road. There'll be road closures between Tottenham and Edmonton from 10 p.m. on Friday the 22nd of November to 5 a.m. on Monday the 25th of November, while we carry out essential maintenance and repairs. All roads in the surrounding area will be extremely busy, so please allow more time for your journey and expect delays in the area. Plan ahead and check alternative routes at tfl.gov.uk. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
I wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish me a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Don't forget yourself this Christmas. Get 90 gig of data for the price of 30 on the stunning Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Search O2 Christmas deals.
O2 refresh credit by Telefonica UK Limited. Contract eligibility and terms apply.
Cutting for the net. Scores! On the goal line, Marchand scores!
Hockey fans, the 2019-20 NHL season is here.
And tucks it home!
And with this team, it's really fun to be a part of a team like that.
And you can hear the action live on TuneIn Premium. From regular season action to the All-Star Game and through the Stanley Cup in June. Hear the home and away call for every game, for every team live. At home or on the go, never miss a game with the NHL on TuneIn Premium.
Upgrade today.
LeBron. Slam dunk.
The NBA is on TuneIn Premium. Each week, TuneIn picks an NBA game you just can't miss. James Harden and the Houston Rockets are in LA to take on Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers.
Harden pulls back, trying to make it 11-2.
Kawhi Leonard is all over the place.
This Friday, the Houston Rockets are at the LA Clippers. Tip-off is at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Search NBA on TuneIn to follow your favorite NBA team today.
Lowe's and Target reporting in the last hour. The numbers, market reaction, and highlights from Becky's interview with Target CEO Brian Cornell straight ahead.
Plus, the CEO of Walmart, Doug McMillon, on the state of the consumer and his expectations for the holiday shopping season. That exclusive interview is just minutes away.
Plus, China, the 2020 election, and what's driving markets. Mohamed El-Arian joins us as the second hour of Squawk Box begins right now.
Good morning and welcome to Squawk Box right here on CNBC. I'm Andrew Ross Sorkin along with Joe Kernan. Becky is making her way back from that big interview with Target CEO Brian Cornell, and she'll be joining us shortly with another big interview. She caught up with Walmart CEO Doug McMillon yesterday at the CNBC Evolve conference in Los Angeles. And we've got that exclusive interview straight ahead. Meantime, U.S. equity futures 2.5 hours before the market opens. Right now, it looks to be in the red. Dow looks like it would open off about 88 points down. S&P 500 looking to open down as well, about 9 points. And NASDAQ looking to open off about 32 points down, despite those good earnings from Target this morning, which were better than anticipated, Joe.
And Becky's on her way, making her way back to the studio after her interview with Target CEO Brian Cornell. The retailer reporting results just a couple of minutes ago. Earnings and revenue both beat the street, and the company raised its guidance. That news sparking a rally in Target shares, now trading at an all-time high in the pre-market. Here's Cornell commenting on the quarter and the state of the consumer.
We focus a lot on bringing great inspiration to our guests when they shop our physical store or they're online, making it really easy, and all those fulfillment options, order online, pick up in store, or drive into one of our parking lots. We'll put it in your trunk, or have a ship shopper come to your home, and then making sure we deliver great value. So when we get that balance between inspiration, ease, and value, I think our guest is rewarding us, both by shopping more in-store and also online. We continue to see a very healthy consumer environment. Obviously, a very strong labor environment. Unemployment continues to be very low. The percentage of consumers that are in the workforce continues to grow. Wages are rising. Consumer confidence is strong. And all the indicators right now would say this is going to be a very solid holiday season.
Another big retailer out earlier, Lowe's, after Home Depot's sales miss and disappointing forecasts yesterday. Lowe's reported better than expected earnings, and the shares are rising on that news. And to top it off at 7:30 Eastern this morning, we're going to hear from Walmart CEO Doug McMillon. Becky caught up with him yesterday. His comments on the state of America, the consumer, and much more is straight ahead.
Meantime, President Trump and Apple CEO Tim Cook will be touring a Mac Pro factory that's taking place in Texas today. I want to go over to Eamon Javers, who joins us with a preview of that. Eamon.
Yeah, good morning, Andrew. Huge stakes here in Austin, Texas today as the president travels here. He's going to visit a facility where they build those MacBook Pro computers. Apple announcing that in September they were going to expand production here in the United States because they were able to get some tariff exclusions. Now, the question is there going to be visible tension between these two men? The expectation is that both will be at their most diplomatic, but there has been some tension between them in the past. The president, very critical of Apple during the campaign. Tim Cook hosted a fundraiser for Hillary Clinton back in 2016. Today, though, both sides are going to try to do some persuasion. The president is going to be persuading the American public that his tariffs are working. That is, American companies like Apple are bringing at least some production back into the United States. Tim Cook is going to be trying to persuade the president not to hurt Apple with a December 15th round of tariff increases, trying to find a way for Apple to get additional exclusions and protect so much of its manufacturing. Now, if you look at the MacBook Pro overall, it's an expensive product, but it's not a major seller in terms of overall revenue. Take a look at the revenue of products made in China versus made in the United States. And what you see is that Mac products globally are pale in comparison to iPhone sales, which are a much, much bigger sales figure annually for Apple, according to their Q4 report. So what you're looking at here is MacBook Pro being a relatively small piece of Apple's overall production, but Tim Cook has to focus on protecting that big number here, and that's the number that could be impacted by that December 15th tariff increase, guys. So a lot to watch for here in Austin, Texas throughout the day today.
Eamon, a couple of questions in terms of this. It's a little bit of a strange bedfellow situation taking place there in Austin.
That's right.
Who wanted to do this? Meaning, was this instigated by Tim Cook and Apple, or was this instigated by the White House and President Trump in terms of this obviously being, in large part, what seems like a photo op?
Yeah, look, that's a really good question. We don't entirely know the answer to that. Neither side will comment. But just in terms of the body language and the communication between the two entities, the White House and Apple, all of the communication on this is coming from the White House, not from Apple. Our direction on what's going to happen today coming from the White House, not from Apple. I think the president has more to gain here than Tim Cook does. There's a lot of risk in this for Tim Cook.
There's been a lot of
one-on-one opportunity for Tim Cook.
There's been a lot of articles written over the past 6 months about actually how Tim Cook has threaded this needle with the president. He has devoted a lot more time than many other CEOs in America have talking to the president. To some extent, I imagine trying to ingratiate Apple with the president, given the possibility of tariffs on their products. But what seems so interesting to me is how he's thread that needle at the same time that he's managed to placate what I imagine could be employees who have different political views than the president, consumers that may have very different views than the president, and how you think he's managed that. And therefore, what this meeting is about, I assume, is also part of some deal, because everything, to some degree, with the president is a deal.
That's right. And I'm told that Tim Cook has managed that in large part by going through the Trump family, talking to Melania Trump at dinners that are held at the White House, talking to Ivanka Trump, serving on the president's jobs board that's very important to the president. You remember, a lot of CEOs walked away from this president after his comments at Charlottesville. Now, here's Tim Cook showing up again and again. I asked the president what Tim Cook is doing differently, and the president told me, look, he's the only CEO who actually picks up the phone and calls me directly when he needs something. The president said Tim Cook has been very effective at making his case inside the White House why these tariffs shouldn't hurt Apple. But you're right, Tim Cook comes from a liberal Silicon Valley. He hosted a fundraiser for Hillary Clinton. These would not be the two men you would think of as bosom buddies.
And the question is whether a photo op like this today actually creates a problem, not for the president so much as it creates a problem potentially for Apple.
Sure. Well, the question is, first of all, Apple's own employees out in liberal Silicon Valley, as we've been talking about, also here in Austin, Texas, and then and their customers, right? I mean, how do Apple customers perceive Tim Cook, ingratiating himself with Donald Trump? There's risk there, but I think if you're Apple, you look at the risk of those December 15th tariffs hitting all the iPhones that are manufactured in China, and you say, we just have to take some action here to preserve our bottom line.
I missed something. Historically, I always thought CEOs would want to photo op with the president of the United States. I think you're just very disappointed in Tim Cook that he's not that he hasn't really joined the resistance. You can't. It's such a valuable, great company, and it does so well. And it must be maddening to you that he consorts with this.
This is not about.
He's normalizing this guy, which is not good.
This is not about my view versus somebody else's view. This is about the fact that
all right, never mind.
In America,
as long as
decided to distance themselves from the president in large part
at that point in time. Many have come back. Many have come back.
Some have come back. Some have not come back.
Okay. But you do need to work, like everybody in this country, they do need to realize this guy is the president of the United States.
I recognize that, but I'll tell you this.
But you don't accept it, but you recognize it.
I accept it. I recognize it.
But is there anything Tim can do to win back your love and your favor? Is there anything?
No, the question is,
very disappointing.
Tim Cook has always talked about Apple standing for particular values, certain values.
Yeah.
He's fought on immigration, right? He's fought the president on immigration.
On illegal immigration or immigration?
Illegal immigration.
So he's for open borders?
No, Joe, now, see, this you're trying to spin this whole thing around. The point
Really? I'm trying to spin it around.
The point is that the president has fought the immigration issue.
Illegal immigration.
He's fought on LGBT issues.
Okay, now you're switching to LGBT.
Hold on. My point is President Trump is antithetical to...
President Trump is anti-LGBT?
On several issues has been antithetical.
I don't consider him that way. I mean,
antithetical to the approach that Tim Cook has taken on different issues. So, immigration being one, LGBT issues being another, frankly, abortion being another.
Then you're painting a bad picture of Tim Cook because he just seems like an opportunist that is willing to compromise his own noble virtues for monetary reasons, and that's why you're so disappointed.
You said that. I did not say that.
Okay.
I'm suggesting to you
I'm just
that
trying to read between the lines.
Employees and other constituents.
I just don't look at. I'm sorry when someone that you really love disappoints you, and I'm just sorry that he's consorting with this.
Look, as you know, I'm an Apple fanboy. I love Apple. I like Tim Cook.
I know, and that's what makes it so painful for me to see you.
How are you enjoying my seat?
How
are you enjoying my seat?
I'm going to do what Becky would do normally.
What are you going to say?
Put my neck out. No. At the risk of upsetting both of you.
Yes.
The main issue here, and I suspect is what other CEOs are asking.
Yes.
Is how do you proactively balance so many competing constituencies?
That's the
question.
question.
That is what they're going to look at Tim
and
Cook
how do you duck and cover in this boat without alienating?
And what others have done is they've gone back to the sideline and say, I'm not going to do this.
Right.
Okay, Tim Cook has gone straight in and said, President Trump, China, internal constituencies, markets.
How do I do it?
I am going to balance it all. Okay. Right. And CEOs watching your show are going to say, well, how did he do that?
How does he do it? And my question is, he's done it thus far, and does it continue? Because I think this is going to be much more public today. And does that change the dynamic? That's the question I'm raising.
Oh boy, Tim, man, I hope you got
your story straight. I want to give Becky her seat back.
I hope he's got his story straight, Tim, for you guys. Anyway, when we return, Medicare for all will be a major topic in tonight's Democratic debate. Now, if he was hanging out with us, fine. Anyway, we'll speak to the Dean of Stanford Medical School after the break about Elizabeth Warren's plan. How would Tim do with Elizabeth Warren? Would that be a love fest? Plus, Mohamed El-Arian talks markets, China, the Fed, and much more. He's so virtuous in so many other ways, so it'd be okay. Anyway, check out the futures at this hour. Futures are indicated down 81. They have paired their triple-digit losses, and now down 81. Squawk Box will be right back.
I've got to tell you about our beautiful city break in Bath. Midweek is the perfect time to beat the crowds. Just an hour and a half by train from London. It was so relaxing. We headed straight for Bath Christmas Market. Oh, I can still smell the roasted chestnuts and mulled wine from the chalets. Next, we donned our skates for Bath on Ice. I'm a natural. Didn't have to hold on to anything or anyone. There's so much to do in Bath. I'm already planning my next trip.
Discover the magic of Bath this Christmas. Plan ahead at visitbath.co.uk/Christmas.
Whatever job you're searching for, you can find it on LinkedIn. First jobs, flexible jobs, work from home on a Friday jobs, advertising jobs, accounting jobs, HR, PR, even ER jobs, Soho jobs, Shoreditch jobs. Keep me away from the central line jobs. Banking jobs, building jobs, never ever boring jobs. Small jobs, big jobs, London Borough Market jobs, or even voiceover jobs, which is how I ended up recording this ad. Search millions of jobs on LinkedIn and find one meant for you.
When Harlequins take on Leicester Tigers, it's always a big game. But this year, it's the big game. Hosted at Twickenham, you can expect fireworks on the field and off it. Pre-kick-off, enjoy music, entertainment and a truly incredible atmosphere. Then watch two Gallagher Premiership rugby giants go head-to-head. Tickets from just £17 children, £27 adults. Go to tickets.quins.co.uk or search Big Game 12. Kick-off 4:30pm, Saturday 28th of December, Twickenham Stadium.
Next. Nah. Nope. Boring. If you skip through loads of your TV channels, why are you paying loads of money for them?
With TalkTalk TV and Faster Fibre, you can access the nation's favourite TV shows, a world of films and sport, live and on demand, all for £25.95 a month for 18 months. And if you're quick, you'll even get a year of Amazon Prime on us. Search TalkTalk TV. TalkTalk. For everyone. Offer ends 5th of December, subject to availability. T's and C's apply.
Make their Christmas wishes come true. Whether they want to jet off on Barbie's dream plane, run with the storm in Fortnite, or glide along on My Lovely Llama. At littlewoods.com, you'll find all the toys they love, all with inclusive delivery and free returns. Own Christmas. Shop now at littlewoods.com.
At Lidl, we're big on getting in the Christmas spirit with our award-winning 8-year-old Queen Margot blended Scotch whisky for just $12.99 and our award-winning range of Hortus Artisan gins and gin liqueurs from only $9.99. Big on a Christmas you can believe in. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores excludes an eye.
Rising healthcare costs remain a top issue for 2020 voters, and Elizabeth Warren's Medicare for All plan will be front and center at Wednesday night's Democratic presidential debate in Atlanta. For a closer look at the future of healthcare, let's welcome Dr. Lloyd Minor, Dean of Stanford Medical School. It's great to have you in this morning. We want to play along and prevent things. That's the answer to all of this. Do you have a list of things we can do so that costs will go down when none of us ever get sick again? Isn't that really what we're talking about? Isn't that the best thing to try to do? Maybe technology can help us.
Absolutely. Well, one of the fundamental problems with cost and with outcomes in the U.S. healthcare delivery system today is that in fact, almost entirely, our focus is on after-the-fact care. It's on reactive care. If we're better able to predict and prevent disease, and we have the science and technology that should enable us to do that, if we're better able to predict and prevent disease, then we'll be better able to prevent the consequences of disease once it advances. And I'm really excited about the way technology can transform that. There's a lot we're doing at Stanford in that arena and a lot that's being done elsewhere as well.
Well, I know you spent a lot of time on the East Coast down at Johns Hopkins. Is it easier out in Palo Alto to develop these relationships with the right companies to forge ahead in the convergence between technology and healthcare?
Well, a couple of things. I think there's been a long tradition at Stanford of getting things into the world, and that involves commercialization very frequently. And the fact that the tech community is around us, and in so many ways Stanford has contributed to helping that community develop. It's more fluid to develop those relationships. We're working with Apple, we're working with various divisions of Alphabet, really to lead the revolution in digital health, both with consumer-facing devices and technologies, and also with machine learning, AI-enabled analytics. And that's the way we're going to really be able to get at this cost problem and predicting and preventing
I know,
disease.
Doctor, you don't want to weigh in specifically on Medicare for All, necessarily. We'll litigate this over the next 11 months and probably over the next 20 years. I don't know how long it'll take, because I can't imagine private insurance being easy to take away from most people, and most people are covered that way. So I don't know what eventually going to happen. Should that be our goal? And my question, the crux of this whole thing is, does getting rid of the profit incentive actually make it easier to control costs, since you don't have to worry about profits? You don't need to make money, so it should be cheaper to deliver care. Or does the lack of the profit incentive make it impossible to contain costs because there's no one watching the store, watching the piece? That's the ultimate question. Do you know the answer?
I don't know the full answer, but I do know that in a strictly fee-for-service world where we're being paid for increments of care, in many cases not linked to outcomes, that's a problem. Whether or not you consider it a for-profit system or not-for-profit system. So the more we can move to value-based reimbursements, the more we can move towards evaluating outcomes and then rewarding based upon improved outcomes, the better the health of Americans will be and the better our delivery system will be.
You know, Doctor, the entire time we were considering Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act, that seemed like what everybody was saying through that entire period of time. Here we are 10 years later. Have we gotten any better at that? Are there places where we're making progress on that front?
I think we have had fewer uninsured Americans, more insured Americans, and that, in principle, is a good thing.
I just mean in terms of paying for outcomes or paying for preventative care versus paying on this fee-for-service.
The number of bundled payment arrangements are increasing for things like joint replacement, certain forms of heart surgery. Could that pace be increased? Probably so. I think, though, that really the fundamental issue is twofold. One, predicting and preventing disease, and the other is getting information from all the data we have out there today. We've moved from paper records to electronic records, but really what we've done is to substitute or to get rid of paper filing cabinets and substitute them with electronic filing cabinets. We still haven't gotten or leveraged the information that's embedded within all that data. And until we do, we're not going to be able to really deliver the type of informed improvement in healthcare delivery that we've seen in so many other sectors of the economy because they've been empowered by information. We're still really not in healthcare.
Doctor, I want to go back to your excitement about we getting better at predicting and preventing.
Right.
And link it to a conversation we had before you came on set here during the break about a flu shot. What are the behavioral scientists telling you about not whether you're going to be able to predict and prevent, but whether you're going to be able to change our behavior, the consumer's behavior? So what does it take to match the science, what you're excited about, to the fact that human behaviors tend to lag the science?
Absolutely.
What are they telling you?
Well, behavior is the hardest thing to change. That's one thing we all know. I do think technology has a role, and I think we're seeing the effects of technology. Wearables all too frequently sit on the shelf, but as it becomes easier for our health behaviors to be informed by information we get about our health, the more we're able to effectively change behavior. And let me mention a couple of examples. There are several companies that have focused on this, particularly in the area of diabetes control, where we have one variable that we know is very important, that's glucose level. So if you look at companies like Livongo, Omada Health, what they're doing is they're creating communities to help people change behavior regarding diet, regarding taking of medications, and to better control or eliminate type 2 diabetes. Technology can play an important role in helping behavior change, but that is, I think, the most complicated thing about really having an impact on the outcomes in healthcare.
I wear this all the time in here, this IFB. You're the preeminent expert on all things inner ear, are you not? You've won awards and everything. He is.
Yes.
He is. He's won awards
for studying how the ear works with the balance system and hearing.
Yes. These things are not good for us, I don't think.
Do you have anything for Trump derangement syndrome? Is there a drug or a
different question? What about headphones? Do you keep headphones in your ears at all or not?
I occasionally use earbuds. I think the key is to keep the volume down. And now there are ways we can monitor the amount of noise exposure we're getting. And I think
you have no worries about the Bluetooth near the brain?
Well, that's a different subject.
Whether or not it's Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, I think we need a lot more studies and evidence to know whether or not it's going to be a problem.
Your specific expertise was in people who have a little hole in their skull or something, right? And treating that because it affects balance and their inner ear and everything else, right?
That's right. And
all right, we got to go.
I don't know. We'll talk off camera.
Time now for today's Aflac trivia question. In what year was AT&T broken up? The answer when CNBC's Squawk Box continues.
We're honored to have you on campus for the official visit.
'Tis the season to be hunched over your laptop. Not on our watch. In real life, you can feel your senses and your baskets. Feel all the sights, sounds, lols, and OMGs. Wear laughing emojis on actual smiley faces. Battery is running low. Take the kids to Santa's Grotto. In real life, you can find just the right present using the most advanced search engine in the world. Your eyes. We heart in real life. Brent Cross, London. Free parking for all sleighs and cars.
Next. Nah. Nope. Boring. If you skip through loads of your TV channels, why are you paying loads of money for them? With TalkTalk TV and Faster Fibre, you can access the nation's favourite TV shows, a world of films and sport, live and on demand, all for £25.95 a month for 18 months. And if you're quick, you'll even get a year of Amazon Prime on us. Search TalkTalk TV. TalkTalk. For everyone. Offer ends 5th of December, subject to availability. T's and C's apply.
At Lidl, we're big on those little reasons to be jolly. Like our delicious Favorina all butter mini Stollen bites for just $1.99. And 6 deluxe mince pies for just $1.35. Big on a Christmas you can believe in. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores exclusion I.
Hi, it's Ali from Grange News. I'm getting everyone into the party mood with these indoor fireworks. Because how else do you celebrate tonight's triple rollover? Trust me, you don't want to miss it.
Lotto, celebrating 25 years of the National Lottery. Your numbers make amazing happen. Rules and procedures apply. Players must be 16 or over.
At TUI, we can help you find the perfect family holiday. And with flights from 20 UK airports, we make getting there a whole lot easier. Book now and choose from thousands of holidays under $399 per person. And spread the cost with £0 deposit when paying with direct debit. Book online or in-store with one of our travel experts. At TUI, we cross the T's, dot the I's, and put you in the middle. Offer available on selected holidays for a limited time and subject to availability. Booking T's and C's apply. At or protected.
Looking for a great phone to take brilliant photos, like an incredible iPhone 7 with a 12-megapixel camera? Then look no further than Tesco Mobile's best ever Black Friday event. You'll find an iPhone 7 for just $14.49 a month, our lowest ever price. Be quick, this deal ends Sunday, 1st of December. Tesco Mobile, every little helps.
Best ever Black Friday based on range of products in promotion. Was £19.75, now £14.49. Offer ends 1st of December. 36-month credit agreement, rolling monthly usage agreement. Subject to status, phase policy applies. See tescomobile.com/terms.
Now the answer to today's Aflac trivia question. In what year was AT&T broken up? The answer, 1984.
Great morning so far on Squawk Box. Big interviews from leaders in retail. We've already heard from Target CEO Brian Cornell this morning. Up next, Walmart CEO Doug McMillon. We have that interview right after the break. And then running against the Trump economy, what investors should be listening for in tonight's Democratic debate. Also later, the big business of video games. Activision CEO Bobby Kotick on the explosion in esports, the next big breakthrough in gaming, and how its Call of Duty franchise still reigns supreme. Squawk Box continues right after this quick break.
This CNBC program is...
Looking for a great phone to take brilliant photos, like an incredible iPhone 7 with a 12-megapixel camera? Then look no further than Tesco Mobile's best ever Black Friday event. You'll find an iPhone 7 for just $14.49 a month, our lowest ever price. Be quick, this deal ends Sunday, 1st of December. Tesco Mobile, every little helps.
Best ever Black Friday based on range of products in promotion. Was £19.75, now £14.49. Offer ends 1st of December. 36-month credit agreement, rolling monthly usage agreement. Subject to status, phase policy applies. See tescomobile.com/terms. The nights have started to draw in, and at DFS we know that can only mean one thing. Everyone's spending more time at home getting nice and cozy. You can't beat it. That's why our autumn-winter collection sofas are handmade to order for complete comfort. And many are guaranteed to be delivered in time for Christmas. So make sure you come home to a sofa that's perfect for you. DFS. Guaranteed Christmas delivery and selected sofas end soon.
Each day you grab the keys, pop them in the ignition, and off you go without a second thought. But what if the unpredictable happens and you wake up with something like a flat battery? You'd have been better off if someone had checked it all out, right? But that's going to cost you. What if the cost was nothing? Book a free checkup online and our experts will complete a 29-point visual check and top up vital fluids, no matter what make of vehicle you own. And we're so confident in our checks, we'll also give you 20% off your next service. How's that for peace of mind? Visit your local Vauxhall retailer and quote VX20. T's and C's apply.
Along the goal line, scores! It takes it home!
Hockey fans, the 2019-20 NHL season is here.
Here's Pietrangelo, he scores!
And you can hear the action live on TuneIn Premium.
Gonna move, hit a shot, they stop!
From regular season action to the All-Star Game and through the Stanley Cup in June. Hear the home and away call for every game, for every team live. At home or on the go, never miss a game with the NHL on TuneIn Premium.
Upgrade today.
You're listening to TuneIn, where you can hear all the audio you love in one place. Live NFL games, the hottest music, breaking news, and podcasts. Push play and go about your day, only on TuneIn.
Hey, NFL fan, can't watch the game? Can't be there? We've got you covered. With TuneIn Premium, you can listen to every NFL game live as it's happening.
LaShawn McCoy has an opening on the right side, punches into the end zone for the touchdown. touchdown.
Or catch it later on demand.
Offset backs behind Mahomes. The give is to Williams. Starts right, cuts it back to the left, and flows into the end zone for the touchdown.
You call the plays. Follow the NFL anytime, anywhere, all season long with TuneIn Premium. Upgrade today.
Everybody, at CNBC's Evolve conference in LA yesterday, I sat down with Walmart CEO Doug McMillon. Just last week, Walmart reopened its El Paso location. That was the site of the mass shooting back in August. On Monday of this week, more gun violence, though, this time unfolding in a Walmart parking lot in Oklahoma. Doug McMillon has been a vocal corporate leader on gun policy, and that's where we started our conversation with him yesterday.
It's tragic. In this most recent event, it looks like a personal situation played out in our parking lot. But as you mentioned, El Paso is the event that's top of mind through the summertime. It happened on August the 3rd, and this store reopening we had last week was really moving. It was great to be there with our associates. It was great to experience their resilience and the resilience of El Paso. I'd heard that El Paso was a special community, and I experienced that firsthand. And watching our associates that went through that trauma come together as a family and celebrate the opening and the reunification of that team, they'd been working in surrounding stores all this time, was really special. Proud of them.
You did institute some changes in the stores afterwards. You stopped selling certain types of ammunition, and you have asked customers to not carry guns inside the stores, even though you're not creating a law on that. How did you get to that point? What made you think of that? And do you think it evolves from here?
Yeah. El Paso really thrust us into a situation that we wouldn't have anticipated. And as you'll remember, we took some time to think through what we needed to do. Our first focus was on caring for the associates that were impacted and the customers' families that were impacted and all the things related to that. Then store security, looking again to figure out what more we should be doing by location and how to do that to make sure our stores are safe. And then we turned our attention to, are we happy with the policies that we have and what more should we do? And we sought a lot of counsel from everyone. It's a very divisive issue, obviously. And what we've tried to do is just come forward with some common sense steps. And we would love to see government do the same thing, just some practical common sense steps to help make the country safer. And as we've said to everyone, we don't think the status quo is acceptable. We think there needs to be change, and there can be change while protecting the rights of gun owners. And as I tried to communicate, I grew up in a family that hunted, and I own guns, and we can see all the sides of this issue. But what we ultimately decided to do was to eliminate our handgun ammunition and certain ammunition that can be used in different types of rifles, including modern sporting rifles, as they're called. And we also put in place this open carry policy to try and help make the stores feel safe for our associates. But part of what I hope people can understand is that people go to work there every day and they want to feel safe. And we listen to our associates more than anyone else as we work through this crisis to ask them what they thought. And so we tried to arrive at a solution that took some steps that hopefully makes the stores safer and hopefully the country safer. And then we tried to speak out to the administration and to Congress to say, please join us, look at background checks, look at other aspects of this, and try to help make changes, because these shootings that are happening in schools and other places in the world, including some at Walmart, are just not acceptable.
Have you gotten blowback from your customer base?
A little bit, but no, not much. I think most people understand we're not trying to make a political statement here. We're just trying to help create a safer environment.
Let's talk about your earnings. Just came out with earnings last week. The numbers were better than expected, but the stock was down a little bit. I guess maybe it had built up headed into the earnings season before that. What do you see happening right now in this quarter as we kind of get towards the holiday, which is the most important season for any retailer?
Yeah, we're excited about the holiday. We think it'll be a good one. We've got good plans in place, and the customer overall is in pretty good shape. We watch the calendar, and we have 6 fewer days between Thanksgiving and Christmas, which to a retailer is a really big deal. So we're going to be doing a lot more volume per day. And the business continues to grow online, so our mix shift is continuing to occur. But the store traffic's up, and we've got some great plans for Thanksgiving weekend and all the way through to Christmas. So I'm confident that we'll have a good season, a good year. And we bumped our forecast up a little bit, our earnings forecast, when we came out with earnings last week. I think that reflects that.
6 fewer shopping days. I don't think people outside the retail world understand just how big of a deal that is. How hard is that to overcome?
Let's tell everybody there's just a little over 30 days to shop, okay? I need a sense of urgency here. You've got to get all of your gifts lined out and get all your meals planned. It's going to be on us before you know it.
After your earnings, the president actually tweeted about what you all had done. I think his tweet said this. It was, Walmart announces great numbers. No impact from the tariffs, which are contributing billions to our treasury. Inflation low. Do you hear that, Powell? So is that true? Have the tariffs had an impact on you?
Well, some impact, but Walmart's got a lot of variables to move around and ways to manage mix. And so we've tried to reduce the impact for our customers. We are known for low prices, and we try to resist price increases every day, all the time. And when we do have to pass price increases on in the future, we want to go late and as little as we possibly can. And so far, I think we've navigated that pretty well. Who knows what the future is going to hold? It seems to be a very volatile situation, but we would love to see the issues with China resolved so that we have a little more certainty in our business.
Do you guys get about 25% or maybe a little more of that than your products from China? Is that accurate description?
The numbers for the U.S. are we buy 2/3 of what we sell in the United States made in America. So that other third comes from China, Mexico, Canada, India are the primary countries where we source. So China is important, and there are some categories where it's really important. But it's not the only important country that we work with.
What is that, electronics, the most important?
Electronics, toys, Christmas seasonal, things like that.
Let's talk a little bit more about e-commerce. You've built a pretty unbelievable e-commerce business. People have watched with awe as you've done this. And it gets points across the board for how you are changing things, how you're doing what customers want. It's not cheap to do that business, though. You've got everything from the upfront part that you build to the last mile to the customer's home, really a logistics system in between. Mm-hmm. And it's been reported that you're losing potentially billions of dollars a year with that. When does that turn the corner? When does it get to the point where this is an established business and you can make money off it, too?
Yeah, probably just a little bit over time. We just want to see progress there. And we're long-term thinkers, and we don't like losses, but we do look at them as investments, and we think we're learning how to serve the customer in the future, and so we're going to do what's necessary to make that happen. In our case, you'll remember we started with a wage investment. Our business is a people business, and it starts with our associates, so we've continued to invest in wages and benefits and training, education, and we're investing in e-commerce at the same time, and that creates some of that pressure. And so, when I think about the future, I think we're just going to keep getting better incrementally. And as I said with our earnings release script, we've got a lot of strength with food. Customers love being able to do grocery pickup. We've now ramped up delivery to 1,400 stores. Customers are going to want delivery. We've got this more advanced form where we're delivering all the way into the home that's in Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and Vero Beach. I got to go on a delivery into the home last Monday. And I think customers are going to love this. I know you may have some questions about that, but I think a whole lot of people are going to let us take care of their everyday needs. And that relationship enables us to build on our general merchandise assortment, manage margin mix. So we're trying to stand up a bigger e-commerce assortment in non-food. And I mentioned this last week. We're making progress, but we're not satisfied with where we are with non-food e-commerce. So we're all working on trying to make that better, deliver on time, grow the assortment, add brands. We're adding thousands of brands so that we have the entire offer for customers in the end.
What's the biggest problem that you've found in the places where you beta this? The idea of actually going into the customer's home, delivering the food, whether they're there or not?
Dogs. We have this place on the app where customers can tell us whether they have a dog or not, and sometimes they misinform us about whether the dog is in the house, not in the house, and we've had a few instances where we just stop the delivery, exit the home, call the owner and say, we'll need to resolve the dog issue before we put your food in the grocery or in the refrigerator.
Are these big dogs?
Big and small, I'm told. We had one, when I was delivering this order the other day with one of our associates, they pointed to this one particular gentleman, one of our associates, who seems to have a knack for running into dogs wherever he goes.
So he's the dog guy.
It's a new hazard of working at Walmart.
Right. There have been reports of tension between the U.S. stores and the e-commerce side of things. I can understand that because what is going to work for one side of the business, maybe it makes it a little more painful for the other side of the business. How do you deal with that? How do you fix it?
Yeah, I always think about Clay Christensen's book, The Innovator's Dilemma, and the tension between a new business that loses money and an established business. And so it's natural that we have some of that. And there are debates we've had within the company. It's one of the things that I love, frankly, is that I've got a leadership team that can work through issues constructively and debate things, and then we just make a decision and we move on. And in our case, we've invested in stores, and the stores have performed, and our associates and our store managers have done a great job. And we've invested in e-commerce and grown it to a certain extent. And I expect that'll continue. And I expect in the future we'll be debating other issues. And I don't have a problem with that at all.
How do you do it, though? Is it about incentive pay or making sure that everybody's on the same team?
Incentives are important, but I think mostly it's about hearing each other. And we're solving problems. We're doing things that have never been done before. So when you first have the conversation about some of these innovations, we don't all see it the same way, but we're smarter together. And so what we try to do is go through a process. We're together pretty frequently, setting up the right topics to figure out how we're going to solve the next set of problems to grow this company, and then manage it in a way that we make money as we go and deliver for shareholders. And that tension and all those variables when it comes crunch time to set a budget for next year, for example, make it super interesting and really important because so many people are counting on us. But it's also a lot of fun.
You are taking over as the head of the Business Roundtable in January. That will require your leadership on even bigger issues, a lot of issues that affect not only business, but probably the United States and government and policy issues too. Why are you doing that?
Because I believe in business. And I work for a company that for now almost 30 years for me, I've seen do good work. And I'm surprised that I was asked to do this, but excited about trying to help be one of the voices, along with the other leaders in the Business Roundtable, to put facts, proof points behind the fact that companies do care. Companies are comprised of people. And we care about our customers, we care about our associates, and we care about the long term. We're trying to build something that's of high quality. So we do invest in wages. We do invest capital to try and make sure these companies are here for a long time. And in the case of like the statement that we put out last year, I was actually surprised, underestimated how much debate there was going to be about it, because the lens I was looking through was a Walmart lens where we've been doing things related to social and environmental sustainability and delivering profit because we think of it as a system all along. So the first debate that occurred on the subject, I was like, that's really something that got people's attention. And then you guys in particular and others just kept talking about it, and it's become this thing. And so now we have this opportunity to come along and say, hey, look at what we've done already. And there are so many stories that these great businesses can tell and the leaders can tell. And look at what we're going to go do next to make all of this come true while delivering for shareholders at the same time. This is not a mutually exclusive situation.
For a reaction to what we just heard from the Walmart CEO, let's bring in Bill Simon. He's the former president and CEO of Walmart U.S. And Bill, watching what's happened to Walmart over the years, and this is a company that continues to reinvent itself against some pretty strict odds. What do you think of what you've seen just over the last few years?
Yeah, I think they've done a terrific job, and Doug's a great interview. They've done a masterful job at laying out a strategy, telling a story, and then executing and delivering against it. And it's hard to argue with. They sort of declared where they were going to go 5 years ago, and they've gone there. And the question is, really, where do you go from here? They have built, as you mentioned in the interview, a really terrific e-commerce business from next to nothing. That has come at a really steep cost. 5 years ago, their operating income was about $28 billion, and now it's $21 billion. So that's down 23%. And over the same period, their sales have grown in total about 6%, a little over 1% a year. So it's time to start seeing some traction from that, as Doug started to describe in the interview. But they've done a really good job laying it out and really changing the direction and the impression that the company's been able to deliver across the country.
Bill, in responding to Becky's question about the impact of the tariff, he said we have, quote, many variables to play with. What do you think those variables are? I mean, what have they done to minimize the impact of the tariffs?
Well, they have a lot of variables, and I think you're seeing the same result across retail today. We saw Target beat and Lowe's beat earnings, and there's not a whisper really of anything tariff related in there. The first thing, and this is why I think China will end up eventually coming to the table and having an agreement, is they're able to move sourcing from country to country based on, given enough time, and this has been going on 18 months plus now, they're able to move supply lines. And they're also able to mitigate some of the costs by shifting the pressure, in some cases, on asking the suppliers to absorb some. And in Walmart's case, their breadth of assortment is so great that there may be a tariff on a particular item and that is a price elastic item, and they can't take price there, but they can shift the pricing to another place in the store that doesn't have a tariff with less elastic pricing. So the overall scope and impact from a consumer perspective seems to be pretty nominal at this stage.
We talked a little bit with Doug just about what he would like to see next with e-commerce. He made the point himself on the conference call last week that they've done very well in terms of grocery. They still have a little more work to do, he thinks, when it comes to general merchandise. How would you go about targeting that?
Well, I think I would agree with them. Their competitive advantage is grocery, and it's going to be grocery because if you think about the supply chain logistics and infrastructure that's required to get bananas from Central America to every zip code in the country in a 10-day window between the time they're too green or too brown, it's really complicated and really complex, and it's going to be years and maybe decades before anybody else can match that. And so to build their non-grocery business, I think they have to do it on the back of the traffic that their grocery business will drive, and I think that's sort of where they're headed. And that would be what I would think they were going to be doing.
It's a little trickier. I mean, I was just at a Target store in Manhattan earlier this morning. They put the groceries downstairs all the way in the back because I think it's about 32% of the sales in that store. That way everybody has to walk through the store and see everything else. It's easy to do in a physical store. How do you do that online?
Well, I think what you do, and really the issue I think that Walmart's been trying to deal with is how do you take that grocery traffic and translate it to e-commerce? They've realized that the physical store is a really important component of it, and so most of the online grocery is order online and pick up in store. And so the key then is to try to get a transaction out of the customer while they're at the store to pick up, and they're going to have to sort of co-market it online. Just like you hang ice cream scoops in next to the freezer section of ice cream, you're going to have to do the same thing online and sort of show people products that they might be able to order and pick up while they're picking up their groceries.
Great. Bill, thank you for your time today. It's good to see you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Becky. See you.
Coming up, 10 of the 18 presidential candidates currently 18. Face off tonight in Georgia for the 5th presidential debate. A preview of what to expect and the topics that matter to your money is straight ahead. Then later, Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick on the state of gaming, esports, and China. Squawk Box coming right back.
Sometimes the pressures of today's world can make it tough.
Cold Wednesday afternoons like this are cruel. You cough, you splutter, so does your car. Its battery dead, killed by an icy claw. Will anyone stand up to winter? Yes, you. Come to Halfords. We fit new batteries on the spot from just £15, and we're open late 7 days a week. See halfords.com for opening hours. Here in Wandsworth. Ready for the cold snap? Ready for anything. Halfords. For life's journeys.
Batteries sold separately. Selected vehicles only in most stores.
At Lidl, we're big on all those Christmas parties. The season to be jolly. Try our Party Time Indian snack selection for only $2.99. And our Party Time mac and cheese bites for just $1.19. Big on a Christmas you can believe in. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores excludes an eye.
On 3, our unlimited data is actually unlimited, like for reals. That means you can scroll and scroll and scroll through all the Black Friday deals.
Because we have no speed limits, no data caps, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost.
Wow, so many savings.
Our Black Friday deals are now on. Save up to £480. Switch to 3, in-store or online. See 3.co.uk/unlimited-data. Savings on selected phones on 24-month contracts. Ends 5th of December. Terms apply.
If you're planning on driving this weekend, expect delays on the A406 North Circular Road. There'll be road closures between Tottenham and Edmonton from 10 p.m. on Friday the 22nd of November to 5 a.m. on Monday the 25th of November, while we carry out essential maintenance and repairs. All roads in the surrounding area will be extremely busy, so please allow more time for your journey and expect delays in the area. Plan ahead and check alternative routes at tfl.gov.uk. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
Looking for a great phone to take brilliant photos, like an incredible iPhone 7 with a 12-megapixel camera? Then look no further than Tesco Mobile's best ever Black Friday event. You'll find an iPhone 7 for just $14.49 a month, our lowest ever price. Be quick, this deal ends Sunday, 1st of December. Tesco Mobile, every little helps.
Best ever Black Friday based on range of products in promotion. Was £19.75, now £14.49. Offer ends 1st of December. 36-month credit agreement, rolling monthly usage agreement, subject to status, phase policy applies. See tescomobile.com/terms.
Welcome back to Squawk Box this morning. Take a look at futures right now ahead of the market open. We're now a little under 2 hours away, I guess. Dow off about 84 points. NASDAQ off about 27 points. S&P 500 off about 8 points.
Let's get you caught up on this morning's market movers. Target earnings and revenue both beating the street, and the company raising its guidance for the full year. That news sparking a big rally in Target shares. Right now, that stock is trading at all-time highs. It blew through the all-time highs by a long shot this morning. It's up by 9%, a gain of more than $10 this morning to $121 a share. The stock's all-time high ahead of this was $114.83, I think. Also, retailer out earlier this morning, Lowe's. After Home Depot's sales miss and disappointing forecast yesterday, Lowe's reporting better than expected earnings. Shares up on that news as well. In fact, that stock's up by about 3.9% this morning. When we come back, guest host Mohamed El-Arian will talk to us about the markets, the Fed, and much more. Squawk Box back after a quick break.
Consistency delivers.
At Lidl, we're big on those little reasons to be jolly. Like our delicious Favorina all butter mini Stollen bites for just $1.99. And 6 deluxe mince pies for just $1.35. Big on a Christmas you can believe in. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores, exclusion I.
On 3, our unlimited data is actually unlimited, like for reals. That means you can scroll and scroll and scroll through all the Black Friday deals.
Because we have no speed limits, no data caps, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost.
Wow, so many savings.
Our Black Friday deals are now on. Save up to £480. Switch to 3, in-store or online. See 3.co.uk/unlimited-data. Savings on selected phones on 24-month contracts. Ends 5th of December. Terms apply.
If you're planning on driving this weekend, expect delays on the A406 North Circular Road. There'll be road closures between Tottenham and Edmonton from 10 p.m. on Friday the 22nd of November to 5 a.m. on Monday the 25th of November, while we carry out essential maintenance and repairs. All roads in the surrounding area will be extremely busy, so please allow more time for your journey and expect delays in the area. Plan ahead and check alternative routes at tfl.gov.uk. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
Christmas is such a magical time of year for little ones. But why should the big kids miss out? This season, take the family to Santa's Wonderlab at West London Audi. You get to test drive the latest Audi models, and the children get to test drive the latest toys with Santa. There's something for the whole family. Visit santaswonderlab.com to find out more about how to register for your place at Santa's Wonderlab this Christmas.
At Ring, we've reinvented the doorbell. So no matter where you are, or what time of day, you can watch over your home and the things you care about. Ring Video Doorbell streams HD video and two-way talk straight to your phone, so you can speak to whoever's at your door from anywhere.
Delivery.
Oh, great. Could you leave it with my neighbour, please?
Sure, no problem.
And it's so simple, you can install it yourself in minutes. See, hear and speak to whoever's at your door from wherever you are with Ring Video Doorbell. Available at ring.com and selected retailers.
The nights have started to draw in, and at DFS we know that can only mean one thing. Everyone's spending more time at home getting nice and cosy. You can't beat it. That's why our autumn-winter collection sofas are handmade to order for complete comfort. And many are guaranteed to be delivered in time for Christmas. So make sure you come home to a sofa that's perfect for you. DFS. Guaranteed Christmas delivery and selected sofas end soon.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. The Democratic presidential candidates will battle it out tonight for more at what's at stake for investors and what they need to be watching for during this debate. I want to get to Kayla Tausche, who is in Atlanta this morning. Kayla.
Good morning, Andrew. It's the 5th Democratic debate this season. 10 candidates will be taking the stage here at Tyler Perry Studios, which is the first African-American-owned movie studio, and it's located on a one-time Confederate Army base. Given that venue and the shift atop the field in the Democratic race, expect racial inequality to figure prominently in the discussion tonight. Mayor Pete Buttigieg from South Bend, Indiana, has a new 9-point lead in Iowa. He also has a spotty record on race, so expect him to be on the hot seat tonight. Polls here in Georgia, though, are mixed. A UGA survey out a couple weeks ago showed that 4 candidates would have a slight edge over President Trump. Vice President Biden would have a wider lead over President Trump, though a poll out this week shows that Biden would only lead Trump here in Georgia by 1 point, which is less than the margin of error. Democrats, though, are hoping that they can flip a state that has been deep red for more than 20 years and has deep-pocketed corporations known for donating to both sides of the aisle. Recent races here have hit fundraising records. Take a look at last year's gubernatorial. It brought in more than $100 million. And a 2017 House special election brought in more than $55 million. But both times, Democrats lost. House candidate John Ossoff is trying once again, this time pitching himself as a populist foil to Senate incumbent David Perdue.
I'm not taking a dime of corporate PAC money. Senator David Perdue, my Republican opponent, has already taken $2 million in corporate PAC money. 2 weeks ago, he was charging $100,000 for an opportunity to speak with him.
So the argument of us versus them, the haves versus the have-nots, that's playing out here in Georgia as well as on the national stage. And guys, perhaps if it's not a competitive state, it will surely be an incredibly expensive one. Back to you.
All right, great. Thank you, Kayla. Let's talk about the aforementioned debate tonight. Once again, our guest host is Mohamed El-Erian, Chief Economic Advisor at Allianz. And I'm just thinking about your view of the overall economy, and it's obviously it's nuanced since you're so global in a lot of your perspectives. I thought when we were all sort of worried about a recession, I don't mean all, I just mean that's all we talked about 6 months ago, was the specter. And I don't know whether it was a phantom recession or whether the Fed actually intervened and prevented something that was coming, or maybe it was never coming at all. But you seem more bullish back then, or you seem more positive about things back then. It's more even keel, didn't believe that. Now you don't seem to be really jumping on the bandwagon that we've avoided it and things are going great because of Europe. So you weren't really excited back then, and you're not really...
I think you've got to distinguish between the U.S.
Okay, so that's what it is then.
So on the U.S., I outright dismissed talk of recession. I thought that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I saw nothing in the economic data that suggested recession. The yield curve I could explain by what was happening in Europe and the behavior of the ECB. So I was scratching my head as to why do people think we're going into recession.
But you're not more bullish now.
No, I still think we're
the same.
I think on the U.S. we're a 2% economy. We will continue to significantly outperform the rest of the world. And my only concern about the U.S. is the spillback from the rest of the world. I am very worried about Europe. I think Europe is going to stall speed this year and recession next year.
Are we at 2%, which do you think that's potential, or are we below potential because of A, the trade war, or B, because that's just...
So there's a reason why
because of Europe. From a slowdown globally or from the trade war?
So I think we've overdone the impact of the trade war.
So it's not as bad.
That's why I asked Bill the question as to what are the various variables that Walmart has been able to use to avoid having an impact on the trade war. I think people underestimate how much operational flexibility there is in the U.S. corporate sector.
At least for big companies.
Yeah. My big concern is we're not investing in potential growth. We're not doing
companies, or you're talking about the government, but
no, I'm talking about private-public partnerships.
Okay, we're going to have more later because, I mean, are we still with the population not growing, A, and B, productivity not growing quick enough? So we're stuck at 2, or can we get we can't get to 3?
We can get above 2, but
because you thought we could get to 3, and I wonder why we didn't.
Yeah, we can.
Okay,
we just need another round of pro-growth policies.
Oh no, Keynesian stimulus again. Okay, infrastructure. Okay. Dig a few holes and fill them back up. We got to roll. All right, let's go.
When we come back, retail in focus, as a number of big reports have moved the sector already this week. This morning, we heard from Target and Lowe's. Yesterday, it was a disappointing quarter from Home Depot that dragged down the Dow. We're going to talk about the state of the consumer and find out which retailers you need to watch. And later, Call of Duty and Overwatch are big hits for Activision Blizzard. But what will be the next game to deliver for this publisher? We're going to find out from Bobby Kotick in a Squawk exclusive interview. We'll be right back.
'Tis the season to be hunched over your laptop. Not on our watch. In real life, you can feel your senses and your baskets. Feel all the sights, sounds, lols, and OMGs. Wear laughing emojis on actual smiley faces. Battery is running low. Take the kids to Santa's grotto. In real life, you can find just the right present using the most advanced search engine in the world. Your eyes. We heart in real life. Brent Cross, London. Free parking for all sleighs and cars.
I love Black Friday. Busy shops, crazy people, average deals. It's so much fun.
Said no one ever. So be savvy and do Black Friday the easy way with Smarty. Grab a huge 100 gig data SIM for just £17 a month on the Mega Plan. And with no credit checks, speed restrictions or contracts tying you down, you can kick back with the best Black Friday deal around. Now that's Smarty. Search Smarty Mobile to find out more, but hurry, as this deal won't be around for long. See smarty.co.uk for terms.
At Lidl, we're big on getting in the Christmas spirit with our award-winning 8-year-old Queen Margot blended Scotch whisky for just $12.99 and our award-winning range of Hortus Artisan gins and gin liqueurs from only $9.99. Big on a Christmas you can believe in. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores excludes an eye.
If you're planning on driving this weekend, expect delays on the A406 North Circular Road. There'll be road closures between Tottenham and Edmonton from 10 p.m. on Friday the 22nd of November to 5 a.m. on Monday the 25th of November, while we carry out essential maintenance and repairs. All roads in the surrounding area will be extremely busy, so please allow more time for your journey and expect delays in the area. Plan ahead and check alternative routes at tfl.gov.uk. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
I wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish me a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Don't forget yourself this Christmas. Get 90 gig of data for the price of 30 on the stunning Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Search O2 Christmas deals.
O2 Refresh Credit by Telefonica UK Limited. Contract eligibility and terms apply.
Want to power through your projects for less? Get 20% off power tools at the B&Q tool shop, like the Bosch 18-volt 2-battery combi drill. Was £80, now only £64. You can do it when you B&Q it. Excludes DeWalt 18-volt 4-amp combi drill, Dremel 3000 15-piece and power tool clearance. Ends 24th November. In-store only on 23rd and 24th November, subject to availability.
What a difference a day makes. Shares of two retail giants soaring on quarterly results just 24 hours after another pair of big retail names tanked.
Walking the line, as Apple gets set to welcome President Trump to a manufacturing plant today, we ask how CEO Tim Cook has forged a relationship with the president.
And it's game time. An exclusive interview with Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick on the explosive growth in mobile gaming and the new power of esports. The final hour of Squawk Box begins right now.
Good morning, and welcome back to Squawk Box here on CNBC. Yeah, music. It is live from the NASDAQ market site, Times Square. I'm Joe Kernan. So they keep playing it. They do that, don't they? What? I should just not. Anyway, along with Becky Quick, Andrew Ross Sorkin, our guest host today, Allianz Chief Economic Advisor,
Mohamed El-Erian.
The coatless, jacketless Mohamed El-Erian. U.S. equity futures. Did you just do that?
I did.
Awesome.
I'm warming up.
Awesome. Well, I like it. Actually, at these things, Jim Jordan, I've seen him get a lot of grief for not wearing a jacket. So then I saw on The Onion, they said he's getting even more casual, and they just had him with just a tie at the impeachment hearing, which I thought was we should not.
Not doing that for you.
No. I'm definitely not.
He looks very comfortable.
He does. And you are very comfortable.
Almost too comfortable.
Almost too comfortable? We have
No one sitting on this set can be too comfortable, believe me.
We'll come up with some. We have some uncomfortable questions later. We'll get there.
In the meantime, we're watching three big stories at this hour. First, the markets and trade. Futures this morning pointing to a lower open when the bell rings. Yesterday, all the major averages hit record highs during the session, but only the NASDAQ actually closed in positive territory. The market moves come against the backdrop of the U.S.-China trade talks. President Trump now says that he will simply hike tariffs on China even more if the two countries can't reach a deal. Number 2, President Trump's big visit to a plant in Austin, Texas today, which he'll be touring with Apple CEO Tim Cook. That facility is slated to manufacture the newly designed Mac Pro. And finally, the 180 in retail that we've seen today. Yesterday, several big names got crushed. This morning, though, shares of Target and Lowe's are soaring after both those companies reported quarterly results that were better than expected. I spoke with Target CEO Brian Cornell earlier this morning. Here he is on his take with the consumer and what's happening in the economy.
I think we continue to see a very healthy consumer environment. Obviously, a very strong labor environment. Unemployment continues to be very low. The percentage of consumers that are in the workforce continues to grow. Wages are rising. Consumer confidence is strong. And all the indicators right now would say this is going to be a very solid holiday season. Indications are somewhere between 3% and 4% growth for retail shopping in the holiday season.
Target shares hitting an all-time high on this morning's results. The company also raising its full-year profit outlook as well. You can see right now that stock is up by over 9% to $121.11 a share. Lowe's shares also up pretty sharply. They're up by 3.6% to $117.50 a share.
Okay, joining us right now to discuss the health of the consumer and the retail sector, Beth Ann Bovino is here, Chief U.S. Economist and S&P Global Rating Services, and Charlie O'Shea, Vice President and Retail Analyst at Moody's. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay, so you look at the Target numbers, those are great. The Lowe's numbers, pretty great. Home Depot, not so great. And you have Kohl's, not so great either. How does that match up to you?
Well,
what does that say?
In terms of the company's specific analysis, I would say that it depends on preferences in terms of consumers, what they want, but also they're looking for a deal. But I would say that overall for the U.S. economy, the consumer is looking, they certainly have the cash. Right. You're looking at overall wages.
So you don't think this says anything about anything in terms of the economy? I think what a lot of people this morning are trying to figure out is you look at yesterday, you look at today, it's like the tale of two worlds. Is this about specific issues at these companies, or is there something going on in the economy, both good or bad?
I think in terms of the overall economy, I don't think it's an issue for households. They have the cash. Certainly, you can see there's a distribution in terms of lower income households versus higher income households. But the breadth of the jobs market is strong. People are getting jobs, and the breadth is improving. People bringing people that were out of the market back in, and that's a positive.
Let me ask you a Target question though. So, given where the stock is right now, do you like Target, or do you say it's about its price for perfection?
I don't personally. I'm not allowed to buy stocks, so compliance doesn't allow me. So I can't. I haven't really looked at it. I would say, if I could, I would probably.
Charlie, what do you say?
I think Target's one of the best retailers out there right now, and I think there's room for Target to run on all fronts. The food business is just gaining traction. I think Brian Cornell's strategy with food was spot on. We thought they needed to do it earlier. They didn't. They waited a little while. Food drives traffic. You get better exclusive and private label brands there on the home and apparel side. So when that traffic comes into the stores and on the website, you got more things to sell them at higher margins. So I think Target's just rocking and rolling right now.
Okay, but Becky's now interviewed both the CEOs of Target and Walmart. If you could give your money to one, who do you give it to?
Oh, Andrew, come
Brian
on.
Or Doug? Look, but that's a choice for a lot of investors. That's the way they think about this.
I know. From a credit perspective, I think right now between the two of them, you could almost flip a coin. There's a two-notch gap in ratings, but I think the way both companies are performing, they're in a very tight race right now, and in a very tight battle for market share across the categories in which they compete. I think you could literally close your eyes, throw a dart at the board, and be happy with either one.
Mohammed?
So I have a view of Walmart versus Target, but I want to go back. Beth Ann, last time we were here, you asked about the Fed. And if I remember correctly, and I tend to forget, you said they're not going to cut rates.
Right.
They did.
Yep.
Now what? And what's the consequence of them having cut rates when you think they shouldn't have cut rates?
Well, in terms of what they did, certainly it puts more cushion for markets. I think that actually helped. The 3 rate cuts actually helped in terms of in terms of the housing market. We were a bit concerned about housing. That looks like it's gotten some more cushion. So you're seeing, for example, building permits go back into more of a kind of a positive territory. That's actually strength for the U.S. economy going forward. I don't know if it really helped in terms of household balance sheets, because household balance sheets are in great shape right now. I see that the impact from the Fed certainly calmed markets. Now that we have a yield curve that's back in positive territory, people are happier on markets. That's a positive. But I don't necessarily see the move in terms of the Fed action gave a whole lot. It gave a little bit, really calmed confidence, but that's about it. And it certainly didn't help with the trade dispute because that's still ongoing.
Okay, we're going to leave the conversation there. Beth Ann and Charlie, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, coming up, the next level, an exclusive sit-down with Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick is next on the explosive growth in mobile gaming, what it means for fans in the years to come. Stay tuned. You are watching Squawk Box on CNBC.
Because he's racing and pacing and plotting the course. He's fighting and fighting and riding on his horse.
At Lidl, we're big on getting in the Christmas spirit with our award-winning 8-year-old Queen Margot blended Scotch whisky for just $12.99 and our award-winning range of Hortus Artisan gins and gin liqueurs from only $9.99. Big on a Christmas you can believe in. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores excludes an eye.
On 3, our unlimited data is actually unlimited, like for reals. That means you can scroll and scroll and scroll through all the Black Friday deals.
Because we have no speed limits, no data caps, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost.
Wow, so many savings.
Our Black Friday deals are now on. Save up to £480. Switch to 3, in-store or online. See 3.co.uk/unlimited-data. Savings on selected phones on 24-month contracts. Ends 5th of December. Terms apply.
If you're planning on driving this weekend, expect delays on the A406 North Circular Road. There'll be road closures between Tottenham and Edmonton from 10 p.m. on Friday the 22nd of November to 5 a.m. on Monday the 25th of November, while we carry out essential maintenance and repairs. All roads in the surrounding area will be extremely busy, so please allow more time for your journey and expect delays in the area. Plan ahead and check alternative routes at tfl.gov.uk. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
I wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish me a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Don't forget yourself this Christmas. Get 90 gig of data for the price of 30 on the stunning Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Search O2 Christmas deals.
O2 Refresh Credit by Telefonica UK Limited. Contract eligibility and terms apply.
Looking for a great phone to take brilliant photos, like an incredible iPhone 7 with a 12-megapixel camera? Then look no further than Tesco Mobile's best ever Black Friday event. You'll find an iPhone 7 for just $14.49 a month, our lowest ever price. Be quick, this deal ends Sunday, 1st of December. Tesco Mobile, every little helps.
Best ever Black Friday based on range of products in promotion. Was £19.75, now £14.49. Offer ends 1st of December. 36-month credit agreement, rolling monthly usage agreement, subject to status, phase policy applies. See tescomobile.com/terms.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. The futures right now indicated down about 90 points or so, triple digits earlier. Down yesterday with the weakness in Home Depot, and we've had some good retail reports today, but we'll still see some red across all three averages.
Time to talk video games. At the CNBC Evolve Summit in Los Angeles, I spoke with Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick about the growing popularity of esports, expectations for the holiday season, and the strength of the consumer.
The gaming business is exploding. I think when you look across the world, in the 190 countries that we operate, more people are playing games than ever before. And we've seen this huge shift where for most of the 30 years that I've been doing my job, our products were only sold to middle-class consumers in developed countries. Mm-hmm. But when phones became the device that most people play video games on, it exploded the market and it changed the profile of our customers. So like most people, for example, don't know, 50% of our players are women.
50% of your players are women. How many monthly average users? Is it like 316 million or something?
It's about 350.
Okay. So you're talking with that many, reaching that many people all the time on a constant basis. Where's your biggest market right now? Not just women, but geographically, where's your biggest market?
We map to the markets, generally speaking. I would say the only place we probably under-index is in China and South Korea, but even there we're starting to see changes. But the U.S. is the biggest market, Europe as a group. But if you look at Europe, Middle East, North Africa, that's an enormous market opportunity that we didn't have access to 10 years ago.
Unfortunately, with that comes problems. Like you guys have run into the issues with China and some of the dealings with there. You guys made a decision when someone who won at one of these positions, one of the Hearthstone's teams, won, but then he made some pro-democracy comments in a live stream. You guys made the decision to strip him of the title, take away the money, but then you reverse that. How do you feel your way through as you're expanding into these markets? How do you make those decisions?
Look, if you think of our mission, which is bring the world together through epic entertainment, we have to make sure that our audiences around the world feel safe and feel comfortable, feel celebrated. And that's our focus, is how do you take 350 million people and make them feel like they're going to have a great entertainment experience. They build community and connection. And I remember there was this great speech that Nelson Mandela gave in 1996. It was his first full year as president, and he had to go to the World Rugby Championships and give a speech. And he was worried about what the violence might be, and it's a certain kind of sport that, may not have been tolerant and accepting of him as president. And he gave this incredibly powerful speech that was about how sport is the thing that is the most powerful force in giving people purpose and meaning and belonging and allowing people to overcome their hopelessness and despair. And if you think about what we do with esports gives a greater opportunity to more people than traditional sport. And you look at the U.S. today, 6 times the number of people that play baseball, football, basketball, and soccer combined play video games. And so what you're starting to see is the real change that's taken place in our industry is that now we're a business that is about providing that organized competition where people can feel that joy and satisfaction, being part of a community, getting that sense of accomplishment, but also having that purpose and meaning and belonging. And that's a huge change in what we do from what we've done over the last 30 years.
Did you base it on the professional sports leagues? The idea that you're based in a city, you have a team, you're going to be playing so that you have local guys who are there too. Did you reach out to the locals or to the professional sports leagues to get how you figured things out?
I went to talk to every commissioner. I went to talk to many of the professional team owners across all sports. I talked to broadcasters, and I wanted to really understand what made the leagues most successful and what were things that if they could start from the ground up, they could do differently. Mm-hmm. And almost every commissioner said the same thing to me, which is, if you can pick your owners, you will be very lucky. And I think we had the unique opportunity to pick our owners. The second thing I heard was most of these owners are great entrepreneurs, but in these league confines and structures, sometimes you can't actually be a local entrepreneur in your market because the league controls a lot of the monetization. So we created a structure that would allow these great owners like Robert Kraft, Stan Kroenke, Jeff Wilpon to be able to actually be entrepreneurs in their markets. And why wouldn't you let great entrepreneurs be entrepreneurs?
I know you've said that looking out maybe 10 years down the road, you think that the economic potential will rival what you see in professional sports leagues. Kara Swisher has a phrase where she says, what's your AWS? Is esports your AWS, where eventually that business becomes even bigger than your original business?
Hard to know. I think that our base business has an enormous amount of potential. And I would say we're different than an Amazon, as an example, because each one of these franchises can be its own AWS. Mm-hmm. So whether it's Call of Duty or Overwatch or StarCraft or Warcraft or, I was going to say Candy Crush, okay? But every one of those has enormous potential to grow their audiences and grow engagement and grow monetization. And I think the thing that's great about esports is it gives us the opportunity to celebrate our players and recognize them and reward them and acknowledge them. And the communities are now building greater social connections. So if you're an Overwatch player, you can chat, you can have voice over IP, you can have organized, amateur competition, semi-professional competition. And I think the thing that we're seeing is that the franchises themselves, each one of them has the potential to be its own AWS.
How do you balance the idea of these franchises that you've had that have been so successful and then finding new content, new games too? How do you weigh those two scales?
This is the business we have chosen. we have the benefit of having a long history of doing this. We have more franchises in our library than probably any other company, and I think we have more talent than any other company. And so we're very good about making sure that our franchises get continual reinvestment, because the responsibility we have to our players is to make sure if they're investing hours and hours and hours a week in a franchise, we have to give them new content. We have to do it now with more frequency, more regularity.
For a reaction to that interview, let's bring in John Freeman. He covers Activision at CFRA, where he is the Vice President of Equity Research, and it's good to see you today. Thanks for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
John, you've got a hold rating on Activision Blizzard. Why is that?
Yeah, it's actually a very straightforward sort of reasoning. I look at the video game space from a tech lens, not so much from an entertainment lens. Although I think you have to look at both. And the reason, on a relative basis, I think Activision is not going to do as well as EA and Take-Two, is simply because of the console cycle. So the new consoles from Microsoft, Xbox 2, and Sony PlayStation 5, they're coming out in the fourth quarter of 2020. And I think that when I take a look at the hardware specs, and see a lot of simulations of what can be done here, I think the jump in video and audio realism and engagement with the user is going to be stunning. And so if you just look at Activision, you got, maybe 34% of their revenue comes from the console, whereas it's, about 65% for EA and about 80% or more for Take-Two. And that's really it. And if you look at Activision from, just their sheer size, I think that it's going to take a while for them to, sort of restart that growth. And I don't think the console cycle is going to help them as much on a relative basis.
Bobby, you spoke a lot yesterday about how their business changed significantly once they started seeing more users that were coming in on mobile. And you could say that with Candy Crush, which is one of their names, but then Call of Duty also just launched a mobile version too, and it's had pretty phenomenal success. Bobby says it's actually changed their portfolio in terms of who their consumer is. I think women make up 50% of their users based on a lot of these things, and that's probably largely Candy Crush too. What about the idea that you may not need a console to reach a larger and larger audience?
Oh, I don't think you need a console. So I think they've already sort of proven that. So I look at it from a perspective of, there's kind of a sort of a one goes ahead and then the other takes off, So I think the console leads, and I think the particularly on VR, which he mentioned at the end, is going to be amazing. I mean, it's really tremendous. What's the degree of sort of interaction and engagement and all of that stuff when you look at VR, and VR is just going to get better. I mean, it's going to get a lot better, and so. Just on a relative basis, I don't think Activision is going to be as big a beneficiary just because they have so much of that mobile franchise, and revenue. It's hard to grow that big number. Now, having said that, after 2020, I think the dynamics change. But our recommendations are based on a 12-month on a 12-month time frame. So that's the time frame I'm looking at Activision as a company. I think all three actually are really well positioned. I mean, video games have already taken over television. I saw some numbers that said in 2018, I think it was $118 billion for video game industry, and television dropped to I think $110 billion. So obviously video games are only going to grow at a higher pace. So I think it's the sector itself is a good place to be.
How do you value esports and what that business might mean over time?
So yeah, it's a little difficult. I mean, I'm looking at it right now as more of an adjunct and as a way to as a way to get users excited about playing video games and sort of the ancillary effect on video game sales, which we're already seeing. So that that's the way I look at it right now. However, in terms of out there maybe 2-3 years down the road in terms of revenue in and of itself, I think it's real. I mean, it's hard to put a number on it now, but it's definitely going to be material in about 3 years.
John, thank you for your time today.
No, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, when Squawk returns, what to watch in the latter half of the fourth quarter. We're going to talk about it. Ariel Investment Chairman John Rogers is going to be our special guest. You don't want to go anywhere. He's got some interesting picks. Back in a moment.
Coming up, how Apple CEO Tim Cook walks one of the finest lines in business. As the iPhone maker gets ready for President Trump to visit its Texas manufacturing plant, we'll debate how Cook's been able to keep customers, investors, and the president on his side. Stay tuned. You're watching Squawk Box on CNBC.
On 3, our unlimited data is actually unlimited, like 4 Reels. That means you can scroll and scroll and scroll through all the Black Friday deals.
Because we have no speed limits, no data caps, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost.
Wow, so many savings.
Our Black Friday deals are now on. Save up to £480. Switch to 3, in-store or online. See 3.co.uk/unlimited-data. Savings on selected phones on 24-month contracts. Ends 5th of December. Terms apply.
If you're planning on driving this weekend, expect delays on the A406 North Circular Road. There'll be road closures between Tottenham and Edmonton from 10 p.m. on Friday the 22nd of November to 5 a.m. on Monday the 25th of November, while we carry out essential maintenance and repairs. All roads in the surrounding area will be extremely busy, so please allow more time for your journey and expect delays in the area. Plan ahead and check alternative routes at tfl.gov.uk. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
I wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish me a Merry Christmas. I wish me a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Don't forget yourself this Christmas. Get 90 gig of data for the price of 30 on the stunning Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Search O2 Christmas deals.
O2 refresh credit by Telefonica UK Limited. Contract eligibility and terms apply.
Yes, madam. Hi, can I get a blanket, please? And a pair of those lovely little headphones and another bottle of water. Madam, the plane has landed. I know.
Like getting your money's worth? Enjoy the delicious mayo chicken. Just 99p from the McDonald's Saver menu. From 11 a.m, price and participation may vary.
Looking for a great phone to take brilliant photos? Like an incredible iPhone 7 with a 12-megapixel camera? Then look no further than Tesco Mobile's best ever Black Friday event. You'll find an iPhone 7 for just $14.49 a month, our lowest ever price. Be quick, this deal ends Sunday, 1st of December. Tesco Mobile, every little helps.
Best ever Black Friday based on range of products in promotion. Was £19.75, now £14.49. Offer ends 1st of December. 36-month credit agreement, rolling monthly usage agreement, subject to status, phase policy applies. See tescomobile.com/terms.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. The futures right now indicated down 84 on the Dow. If you follow the Dow, if you follow the S&P, that's down pre-market 8 and change. NASDAQ giving back 26 and change this morning. Yesterday, the NASDAQ actually traded higher, even though the Dow was down.
New high. All right. Coming up, digital diplomacy. President Trump set to visit an Apple manufacturing site in Texas today with Chief Executive Tim Cook. Cook tweeting this picture just a few minutes ago, writing, "The construction of our new Austin campus is underway and the assembly line for Mac Pro is up and running. Building Apple's most powerful Mac ever in Austin is a testament to the enduring power of American ingenuity, and we are proud that it's made here." A live report from there when Squawk Box comes right back.
What do advisors look for in an ETF?
What's the sign of a really first-class funeral directors? Is it how they're with you every step of the way? Is it the care they take looking after your loved one? The superb organisation they show on the day itself? The thoughtful little touches you maybe weren't expecting? Yes, it's all those things. But there's another sign you should also be looking for. The one that says dignity. You'll find it on every one of our branches and on the Dignity website. When you see it, you'll know you couldn't be in better hands. Dignity Funeral Directors, taking the greatest care.
Rainy, 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 rainy.
Sergey, why are you in such good mood?
It's raining.
And?
Rain means we take meal pups to cinema, and cinema means they'll be entertained.
And entertained means they're also quiet for a couple of hours. Oh, let's go. Enjoy more time together with 2-for-1 cinema tickets from Meerkat Movies with the Meerkat app when you buy through Compare the Market. Qualifying purchases, Tuesdays or Wednesdays, participating cinemas, 2 standard tickets only, cheapest free. T's and C's apply.
Far wing, elevates, triple bucket.
The roar of the crowd. The shot clock ticks down. Will the ball go in? The suspense is pure torture, but you wouldn't miss this for the world. And the replays just don't cut
the
it.
Sideline, the Van Fleet for 3.
TuneIn Premium brings you every minute of the NBA season streaming live, so you can be there when it matters most. Hear it now, hear it live on TuneIn.
Fake in the lane, turnaround jumper from 8 feet is good on
Search
the right.
NBA today to start listening.
Into the end zone, touchdown.
NFL fans, hear every live game on TuneIn Premium.
He runs inside, he's got a 10, 5, touchdown!
This Thursday, hear the home and away call as the Indianapolis Colts visit the Houston Texans at 8:20 p.m. Eastern.
Firing, caught, 10, 5, touchdown!
At home or on the go, hear the home and away call of every NFL game this season on TuneIn Premium. Upgrade today.
When you're not listening to your team, take it to the end zone, the rim, or the net. Keep up with the biggest moments in sports by following TuneIn on social media.
Block, Cook into the end zone for the touchdown.
From reminders of the live top games to tips of the best sports stations and podcasts.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip
Follow
Bayless.
at TuneIn on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to get the most out of TuneIn.
Back to Squawk Box this morning right here on CNBC. We're live at the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. A couple stories that investors are going to be talking about this morning. The Federal will release minutes from its latest meeting at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Remember, the FOMC signaled it was on hold after that gathering, and investors will look to the minutes for any clues on what it might take for another rate cut. Also, Carl Icahn reportedly placing a $400 million bet against shopping malls going short here. The Wall Street Journal saying the activist investor is likely the largest short seller of mall debt in the country. And separately, the American Medical Association is calling for an immediate ban on all electronic cigarettes and vaping devices. The group plans to lobby for state and federal laws banning the products, citing a surge in teen use of nicotine. Of course, President Trump had made it clear that he wanted to go after some of this as well, but maybe stepping away from that because his base may be worried about it. We'll see.
It is a big day for Apple. President Trump is set to visit a Texas facility where the company is slated to use to build its new Mac Pro. Eamon Javers is in Austin, and he joins us with more on that front right now. Hi, Eamon.
Yeah, good morning, Becky. Here in Austin, there are big stakes for both President Trump and Tim Cook of Apple today, as the president is going to use this facility visit later on this afternoon to make the case to the American people that his tariff program is working. American companies, including Apple, are bringing jobs back to the United States and making things here again. For Tim Cook, it's all about persuading the president to spare Apple, really, in any tariff increase that might happen on December the 15th as we look forward to that trade deadline. So big stakes on both sides for two men who've not always seen eye to eye, but who have developed a relatively close relationship over the past year or so. Apple today officially announcing the groundbreaking of its new facility. Here's some of the details. The new facility is 133 acres. It's a campus that's already in existence here in Austin, Texas, but they're going to spend about $200 million in the Mac Pro facility here, and they've got 7,000 employees here now in Austin, Apple says, as of this year. So a major expansion of a pre-existing campus. What we're going to see later today, guys, is the president and Tim Cook touring a third-party contractor firm. That's where they actually make those Mac Pros, and the Mac Pros are a big seller for Apple, but not nearly as important for the company as the iPhone. Take a look at some of the numbers here, and you see the global Mac sales across the world pale in comparison to those phones that are made in China. A big number in terms of Chinese production for Apple. And that's why Tim Cook today is going to likely spend much of his time focusing on that relationship with Trump and making the case, as he has done before, that Apple drives jobs to the United States and therefore should be spared from any tariff increases that come up in December, guys.
Okay, Eamon, thank you. Joining us now to talk more about Trump's visit to Apple, Nilay Patel. He is editor-in-chief at The Verge, and Tom Fortes, senior research analyst at D.A. Davidson. Guys, there's a lot of a lot of meat on the bone here. Beyond Meat, old time. Well, actually, Beyond Meat would not be on a bone. But anyway, there's a lot to chew on. We've already been chewing quite a bit on the show. So let me start with you, Nilay. Do the possible advantages for Apple in terms of operations and minimizing tariffs or currying favor with Donald Trump in this administration, does that outweigh what some would see as brand damage to certain core Apple constituencies, whether it's people in Silicon Valley, whether it's just the high negatives he has with certain segments of the population? Is the brand damage worse than what Tim Cook can extract in terms of concessions from the president?
I think we'll find out today. You know, what's really interesting is Tim Cook spends a lot of time personally with Donald Trump in a way that you don't see other tech CEOs.
Does that make him complicit in what people see as a criminal presidency to some? I mean, wouldn't that be, if he was your idol, Tim Cook, and he's your favorite business guy, and you're woke, and you're a millennial, doesn't that ruin it for you? That he's consorting with.
I'm a little bit older than that.
No, I'm not talking. I said if you were. No, I wasn't.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
I wasn't pointing.
Tim Cook he's a values-driven CEO. He's a good CEO. He's not shy about his values, but he has a duty to his shareholders and to his company to make sure that these tariffs don't hit the iPhone. And he's spent a lot of time with Donald Trump, who's a narcissist, who cares about optics and is bad at details. So what has he done? He's taken a computer that was manufactured in Texas since 2012 when it was announced. He said, we're going to stop manufacturing in Texas. He extracted some tariff concessions from the United States government and said, we're going to manufacture this computer in Texas again at a third-party facility that is actually domiciled in Singapore. Okay, I think he won that battle. I think Donald Trump gets to look at a manufacturing facility for a computer that costs $6,000 at an entry price. They're going to make 10 of them this year. I mean, this is a super expensive computer that most people will never even see, and they're going to get tariff concessions on the iPhone, which they desperately need. That's a brilliant move by Tim Cook. Whether or not that meshes with his values, I think a lot of people see he is playing the president personally, and he's winning. I think that works.
How about you?
So I would argue that there's no publicly traded CEO who's done a better job of managing the company's relationship than Tim Cook has with Apple, with the president. And I think Apple does have the brand cachet that this would not hurt the brand.
Why not?
And if you look at the company, they're really the only one of size who has the ability to lobby both the U.S. government and the Chinese government when you think about their influence in both countries. Why not? Because I think Apple's built a brand with consumers, including many millennials, for multiple decades now, and has the trust
like
of the
Nilay,
consumer.
there's a wink and a nod that he's just taking the president for a ride anyway, so let's get on board, and we're all in on the joke except for Trump. Is that
Well, I think it's more about Apple is interested in building products for consumers across the globe and doing right by consumers. Part of that is managing relationships with governments, both the U.S. government and the Chinese government, and I think they do an amazing job in China as well, which isn't easy.
Clearly, one of the things that the president has extracted from Tim Cook is today's photo op.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? That was part of the deal, as far as we can understand. And I know we're surmising here, but the question is, does that change the dynamic?
I think every time Tim Cook talks about values and then stands next to Donald Trump, there's a mismatch. But every time Tim Cook talks about values and allows the servers for iCloud in China to be run by a Chinese state company, there's a huge mismatch. And you see that he's navigating that mismatch constantly.
Right.
What Apple doesn't do is build the JEDI program for the Department of Defense. What they don't do is contract with ICE like Microsoft or Amazon do. They don't have that employee discontent around, are we building the technologies for this government or for any government to misuse against its people? They're building consumer technology, and that mismatch of values, particularly around China and what their exposure to China is very, very high. So far, they've managed to sort of avoid scrutiny of that mismatch. Days like today, that scrutiny gets a lot higher.
This doesn't change your numbers on Apple, I guess, does it?
No, it doesn't. But I'm glad you brought up JEDI, though, because if you did a compare and contrast on how Tim Cook has managed Donald Trump versus Jeff Bezos, I think losing JEDI to Microsoft is the best example of why Tim Cook has done such a good job and Jeff Bezos hasn't by comparison.
And it's just important to note, they were already building the Mac Pro in Texas, and this computer is very, very niche product. Like, I doubt the average person will ever even see a Mac Pro unless they go into an Apple store and find the corner of the store that it's in. This is a product for professionals. It's super expensive. Tim Cook gets to say, they're bringing manufacturing back to America. They're going to make maybe tens of thousands of these computers.
You say Tim Cook has managed this better than Bezos, but don't you believe that fundamentally they were effectively in two fundamentally different categories of business?
In this case, the category they're both in is very large tech companies that are based in the U.S. that are both generating significant job growth for the U.S. Think about Amazon in the September quarter. They added 100,000 jobs, mostly in fulfillment, mostly in the U.S. So two very important companies for the U.S., Make America Great Again. They're both adding a lot of jobs to the U.S., but very contrasting styles.
So, Nilay, if you are an investor and you are truly woke, in your ESG endeavors, you should try not to have companies that make equipment for immigration authorities. Did you say something like that about ICE? If you're consorting with ICE, that's something that would cause woke people to avoid those companies?
I don't know that I've heard that from the investor class directly, but we certainly hear it from the employees of the companies.
Okay.
The employees of Microsoft are protesting against ICE contracts.
Against making software for immigration authorities.
Yeah, and the employees of Amazon, the employees of Google, very famously have
It's very complicated to navigate through today's world. It's very complicated for companies.
I think it's very complicated for employees who build tools that they get deployed in ways they never intended to, or they don't want to be complicit in policies they don't support.
Ash Carter has talked about how it's a problem. The former Secretary of Defense under President Obama, he thinks it's a problem that technology companies have gone this way, and that there is an issue with trying to get them to work for the U.S. government. He's talked about it pretty extensively on the show.
You know, when I talk to sort of the executives of these big companies, I say, look, we tell our employees if you don't want to work on these products, you don't have to, but you can apply for another job at the company. But we're not just going to reassign you because you have some objection. And I think that's fair. I think the line is very difficult. So if you're Apple probably sells a lot of iPhones to the Department of Defense. Like that, I don't think that's a problem. The actual technology.
If these companies were, quote unquote, more patriotic, meaning if you didn't have this kind of pushback, that they would have a better relationship, not just with the government, but with the public.
I think
because they could argue that they're actually helping the country. Do you think that's an argument, or you think in this day and age of such a polarized political world, it's not really?
What's that going to get a company like Apple? They're going to sell more iPhones? Like everybody already has an iPhone. Their growth story has been expanding outside of the United States for so long. So they have transcended the borders of the country.
Do they have a problem as much with complicity for China?
I think absolutely.
They do. Okay. All right. Well, that's equal opportunity then in terms of the wokeness. Anyway, Nilay, thank you. Tom, thanks.
Thank you.
We're getting woke to the woke this
God,
morning.
we are so
coming
woke.
up when we return. Some new doubts surfacing over the possibility of a trade deal with China. Time's getting short before the next round of tariffs is set to take effect. We will get an update on the trade progress or lack thereof when Squawk Box returns.
Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. You'll get interviews, original content, and behind-the-scenes access. Look for us on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. And subscribe to Squawk Pod today.
We're doing the DNA sequencing of over...
At Lidl, we're big on all those Christmas parties. The season to be jolly. Try our Party Time Indian snack selection for only $2.99. And our Party Time mac and cheese bites for just $1.19. Big on a Christmas you can believe in. Now that's big on quality and always little on price. Subject to availability, selected stores excludes an eye.
On 3, our unlimited data is actually unlimited, like for reals. That means you can scroll and scroll and scroll through all the Black Friday deals.
Because we have no speed limits, no data caps, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost.
Wow, so many savings.
Our Black Friday deals are now on. Save up to £480. Switch to 3, in-store or online. See 3.co.uk/unlimited-data. Savings on selected phones on 24-month contracts. Ends 5th of December. Terms apply.
Looking for a great phone to take brilliant photos? Like an incredible iPhone 7 with a 12-megapixel camera? Then look no further than Tesco Mobile's best ever Black Friday event. You'll find an iPhone 7 for just $14.49 a month. Our lowest ever price. Be quick, this deal ends Sunday, 1st of December. Tesco Mobile. Every little helps.
Best ever Black Friday based on range of products in promotion. Was £19.75, now £14.49. Offer ends 1st of December. 36-month credit agreement, rolling monthly usage agreement, subject to status, phase policy applies. See tescomobile.com/terms.
Looking for a great phone to take brilliant photos? Like an incredible iPhone 7 with a 12-megapixel camera? Then look no further than Tesco Mobile's best ever Black Friday event. You'll find an iPhone 7 for just $14.49 a month. Our lowest ever price. Be quick, this deal ends Sunday, 1st of December. Tesco Mobile, every little helps.
Best ever Black Friday based on range of products in promotion. Was £19.75, now £14.49. Offer ends 1st of December. 36-month credit agreement, rolling monthly usage agreement, subject to status, phase policy applies. See tescomobile.com/terms.
Are you curious what others are listening to on TuneIn? Head to the trending section under Browse to see the most popular stations and podcasts among TuneIn listeners right now. Check it out. You might just discover something new for yourself.
College football is live on TuneIn. Listen for free to games from more than 140 schools all season long.
To the 10, all the way to the checkerboard. But he stays on his feet and scores.
Number 2 Ohio State looks to clinch the Big Ten Eastern Title Division outright and a spot in the Big Ten Conference Championship game as they host the 9th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions in Columbus. This Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Listen to every call and every game of your school all season long for free on TuneIn. Penn State at Ohio State. Just search college to listen today.
Well, welcome back to Squawk Box. The futures at this hour are down 79 on the Dow. Believe it or not, some of the best levels we've actually seen in triple digits when the show began, down 80 now. The S&P indicated to open down around 8 and change. NASDAQ down 28.
President Trump is raising the prospect of even more tariffs on China as a December deadline approaches. Kayla Tausche joins us right now. She's got the latest on what's been happening with the trade war. Kayla.
Good morning, Becky. President Trump making those comments at a cabinet meeting yesterday with his top economic advisors looking on, saying that talks with China are moving along, but that Beijing needs to do a deal he likes.
I have a good relationship with China. We'll see what happens. But I'm very happy right now. And if we don't make a deal with China, I'll just raise the tariffs even higher. Thank you very much.
White House officials had been hoping that the time between a Phase 1 agreement and those December tariffs meant that they could avert new and higher tariffs altogether. But talks have stalled as China is pushing for more tariffs to be removed and is balking at purchasing the agricultural products that the president has specifically asked for. And now relations are intensifying in just the last day, with the Senate unanimously passing a bill that supports Hong Kong's protesters. It slams Beijing's intervention, and it calls for periodic reevaluation of the special economic status that the U.S. has afforded Hong Kong for the last 20 years. China has called this the U.S. meddling in its affairs and says that if the House and the president greenlight this bill and turn it into law, then it would have no choice but to retaliate. The White House has long maintained a stance that democratically elected officials here in the U.S. are free to their views on political and human rights in Hong Kong and can do whatever they'd like on that front, and that trade talks are separate. But as far as those trade talks go, as for specifics, no news has long been interpreted by the market as bad news. Andrew, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Kayla. Appreciate that. Let's talk more about how the trade war is impacting the markets and so much more. Our next guest oversees $13 billion in assets, including in the Ariel Fund, which he started more than 30 years ago. Joining us right now is John Rogers, Ariel Investments Chairman, Co-CEO, and Chief Investment Officer. Good morning to you. Do you think it's baked into the cake? Does the market believes that something is going to get solved next month?
I think you're right. I think people realize it's time to get this China trade war settled.
But when you hear those comments that we just ran from the president, does it make you think that actually maybe we're not going to get there?
Well, you know, it might get delayed. We always know these things don't always happen as expected, but eventually this will solve itself. We'll be back on good shape, and we'll be talking about completely different issues.
But you don't think if we're in the middle of December and it looks like this is going south, that you're going to see the markets go south as well?
Could be temporary. We've had these ups and downs, but as you know, we're long-term investors, and this will pass too, and we'll be back to normal ground again within the next year.
Mohammed, you agree with that, Mohammed?
So I agree from the short term that we're up and down around a baseline that says truce, not resolution, truce.
Right.
Longer term, I think that we are somewhere between a pause button on globalization and a reverse button on globalization. And let me tell you why. It's not just about economics. It's about economics, it's about national security, and it's now about human rights. What Congress did yesterday is another genie out of the bottle. So over the longer term, I think there's a genuine question about, are markets wired for deglobalization?
Right.
Over the shorter term, I completely agree. We're going to have ups and downs, and we're going to have a truce that doesn't address any of the fundamental issues. And that's really important, but we're going to have a truce.
Go ahead.
I think the other thing we need to be working on is thinking about what does it mean we have a President Pence, and how will he handle that? We've been doing a lot of research on that, And if you think that over the next 6 months or so, we could have that kind of a leader.
Okay, wow. You just went there. Let's go there. Right. No. So when you sit around doing the math, you just said you've been looking at what happens in a President Pence world. That presumes that the president is impeached under your...
No, well, he's going to be impeached, people think. Yeah. That's 80% unpredicted. Yeah. But conviction by the Senate is at 15 cents.
I understand. We're contrarian investors. We always think about things from a different perspective, try to think independently and not follow the crowd. And I think as more and more information comes out, there's a better than even chance that the president will be removed and we'll have a
better than even chance.
Yeah, that's our perspective.
Okay. And tell us how you get there.
Well, I think you get there, but not only on what's happening with the Ukraine issue, but I also think you get there as you start to find the courts, not siding with President Trump. And when we get all of his financial records out and you get more and more data out, I believe there's a smoking gun there somewhere.
Wow.
And then you just believe that, or you have... That's just an opinion? I mean...
everybody's got an opinion.
Right. So you believe there's just... But this is without any...
I don't have any inside information, but I do think that as you find that someone's working so hard to hide information, there's got to be something there when it's finally exposed.
But I hear it more than an opinion. I hear it as a projection, and you're looking at what the market implications are.
Are you putting money to work on that right now?
Yeah, so what are the market implications?
I think it'll be positive for the markets. I think once we get into a more settled kind of leadership without all the drama that goes up and down every day and all the tweets that are so challenging to our economy, I think it'll be much more kind of a Zen world as we move.
Let's go into the...
Where are you seeing the effects of the tweets challenging the economy? In the unemployment rate, in the new highs in the stock market, in the rising wages, in the lowest minority unemployment in history? Where are you seeing the tweets have an adverse effect on the economy that you're talking about?
I think the way that it's sort of destabilizing...
As reflected by what? As reflected by what?
I think you're seeing that the market volatility, as you know, as he challenges the
market volatility going up.
But we've had major ups and downs, as you know, over this last year.
We've had 12 new highs in the Dow. It's the best year in about 20. We're up, I think, 24% on the averages.
Oh,
yeah, but that's an unfair look.
It's been one of the best.
Well,
okay, we're hitting
December to December.
All right, John manages $13 billion. He can speak for himself,
okay,
Andrew.
I'll let John.
How much do you manage?
Let me ask you though about, to the extent you're looking at what a world looks like under President Pence, what does it look like?
I think he will be very constructive when it comes to the work with China. And I also think that he'll, with the Fed and all of the major regulatory bodies,
so you think the volatility,
get back to more of normality?
So the volatility that you're arguing that the president is inflicting on the markets is a function of the way he's approaching the trade war with China, as a function of the way he's approaching. I could argue that the way that the tweeting and all of that creates volatility. I won't dispute that. The question is what kind of genuine impact it's had on the marketplace.
I think eventually we always believe that leadership matters and governance matters. When you see the kind of revolving door of leaders within the White House, leaders within the various cabinet, all the various cabinet secretaries, the leadership in various aspects of our, Washington ecosystem.
Right.
All that change can't be good. You need to have some kind of continuity in management. That's what we look for in the kind of companies we invest in.
Okay.
You want stable leadership.
Let me ask you a very quick question. Since you're having to actually map out what happens to the market in a Pence world, if Pence somehow is in this new role as our president, what happens in the election? Because you probably have to map that out too.
Well, it'll be a more even playing field. I think it'll be a much closer race with Pence versus one of the Democratic nominees. As all of you know, I'm a Democrat and support the Democratic leadership.
What?
But no surprise, Joe.
Just hang tight here for a second. Yeah. So you think it would be a tighter race if Trump is still in that role? Who wins? Just so I understand which side of it you think is tighter or not.
No, I think the Democrats will win in a landslide if Trump's the nominee.
You do?
Oh, for sure. Because it's just the drama that's happened, the positions are so hard, and you all see all the poll results that we all read and see. I feel very confident about that.
Well, then you shouldn't remove him.
I'm not going to.
Only 11 months.
We have to do what's right for the society, and the kind of signal that it sends to our country, to our children. We want people who are going to be honest and direct.
Okay.
John Rogers, appreciate you coming in. Provocative ideas. on a Wednesday morning.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Let's get out to San Francisco and the CNBC Bureau at One Market Plaza. Jim Cramer joins us right now. Jim, what are you doing out there?
Actually, listening to your unbelievable interviews, I thought that what Doug said, Doug McMillan, made me feel like the consumer's strong. The Brian Cornell interview just says pretty much everything, which is that if you got the right technology, if you have a good online strategy, if your stores are clean, then it just brings the shoppers in. I think we have to change the storyline, Becky. I think the storyline is what you talked about with those two companies, which is that things are better than expected and the tariffs aren't really hurting. The consumer spending, that's the story. These are gigantic companies, and I think they speak to what's going on in the country. Your interviews made me feel terrific.
I'm glad to hear that. I mean, same thing. If a retailer has invested and has done that over a number of years, a big part of that's digital, but you got to say it's investing in the stores, it's investing on paying more in wages. That strategy has paid off for every one of these retailers that has kind of taken that on. There are some that are struggling, and I saw your comments yesterday on Kohl's. Let's dig into that a little. They're trying to invest right now. It has not paid off yet. Do you think it ever will?
No, they're not investing nearly enough. I think Macy's isn't investing nearly enough. You have to think about what Cornell said to you. I mean, whether it be shipped, whether it be their whole strategy of convenience, where they are, using their stores as warehouses. This man has spent, since he came in, a fortune on IT. Mm-hmm. By the way, you talk to Marvin Ellison. I go back and forth with him. He's spending a fortune on IT. Home Depot had a stumble with information technology, but all the companies I'm seeing out here, I know that was most unfortunate. Actually, the numbers will be fine without it. But all the companies I'm seeing out here, I mean, literally all of them, are designed to make it so that you have a Target, that you have a Walmart. I think we have to stop thinking about, hate them or like them. Trump has created an environment, and Washington's created an environment. Let's give Washington some credit, where the consumer is so healthy. Look about what Brian said. Now, he didn't do what he said last year. I know he set himself up a little bit. He just said, look, the jobs are plentiful.
Wages are high.
The consumer has a lot of money.
Thing. Yeah.
Target and Walmart, aren't they America? So, I mean, I know that's entirely possible that you may hate Trump and so therefore say that they're not doing that well. Let's take them out of the equation. These companies are doing amazingly, and it's because they spend a lot of money, and the consumer loves it. Remember, there is Amazon out there, and these guys have managed to be able to compete with Amazon.
Yeah, it is amazing. Target is at a huge all-time high today. It's at $122 and change. Before this, $114 and change was their high. So,
well, Becky, I mean, your interview clearly illuminated a strategy that is not only paying off, but is making me starting to think that we are really misjudging the consumer. The consumer is going to where there's convenience and value. The consumer is spending, and a Kohl's just does not compute.
What do you do if that's your thesis? Obviously, people are buying Walmart and Target shares today. They're buying in big droves. If that's your thesis, though, the broader thesis on the consumer, where would you tell people to go from here? Where have we not figured out yet?
I do think that Home Depot is not nearly as bad. I mean, look, the stock had run up in advance, and I think now you have to wait. I think that you have to either have a great offline strategy of value, which is what we're seeing when you take a look at TJX. They did a terrific job, or online, and that's what Target is. Target is an online company, a Walmart online company. I think when Doug said to you that Walmart's a service, I mean, that just sent me into a kind of a belief that unless you spend more time out here, you don't understand how they got to be a service. And by the way, Walmart has spent a lot of time out here.
I was just going to say that. They were out there even this week.
Pervasive.
Right.
Pervasive.
Jim, thank you so much.
Thank you. I learned so much from what you did, Becky. So much. Great job.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to your lineup out there today in San Francisco.
Thank you.
We're going to see Jim in just a few minutes. Also, a programming note for you. Don't miss Steve Leisman's exclusive interview. That's a little later with Fed Governor Lael Brainerd. That is live from the Federal Reserve today, and that's coming up at 10:15 Eastern Time on Squawk on the Street. Stay tuned. Squawk Box will be right back.
Front seats.
Make their Christmas wishes come true. Whether they want to jet off on Barbie's dream plane, run with the storm in Fortnite, or glide along on My Lovely Llama. At littlewoods.com, you'll find all the toys they love, all with inclusive delivery and free returns. Own Christmas. Shop now at littlewoods.com.
I love Black Friday. Busy shops, crazy people, average deals. It's so much fun.
Said no one ever. So be savvy and do Black Friday the easy way with Smarty. Grab a huge 100 gig data SIM for just £17 a month on the Mega Plan. And with no credit checks, speed restrictions or contracts tying you down, you can kick back with the best Black Friday deal around. Now that's smarty. Search Smarty Mobile to find out more, but hurry, as this deal won't be around for long. See smarty.co.uk for terms.
If you're planning on driving this weekend, expect delays on the A406 North Circular Road. There'll be road closures between Tottenham and Edmonton from 10 p.m. on Friday the 22nd of November to 5 a.m. on Monday the 25th of November, while we carry out essential maintenance and repairs. All roads in the surrounding area will be extremely busy, so please allow more time for your journey and expect delays in the area. Plan ahead and check alternative routes at tfl.gov.uk. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
Elsa, the past is not what it seems. You must find the truth. Journey into the unknown with Disney's Frozen 2, the most anticipated musical movie event of the year.
We do this together, okay?
This November.
I believe in you, Elsa, more than anyone or anything. Into the air.
Change is in the air. Frozen 2, in cinemas November 22nd.
I don't need a Christmas miracle, just a little wow factor.
Fixing up your kitchen for the festive season? Get to B&Q. We've all you need to impress your guests and Santa, from upgrading your lighting or appliances to choosing new taps like the Xanthi Chrome Effect Mixer Tap for just £70. Bring the magic home with B&Q.
Some breaking news this morning as the U.S. ambassador to the EU, Gordon Sondland, is about to testify in front of House Intelligence. For that, we're going to go to Elon Mui in Washington. Elon, good morning.
Good morning, Carl. Well, some blockbuster new testimony from Gordon Sondland. NBC News received a copy of his opening statement, and in it he will say explicitly that he believes there was a quid pro quo. Now, here is the relevant portion of the testimony, laying some of the blame here at the feet of Rudy Giuliani, President Trump's personal attorney. He says that Mr. Giuliani's requests were a quid pro quo for arranging a White House visit for President Zelensky. Mr. Giuliani demanded that Ukraine make a public statement announcing investigations of the 2016 election, DNC server, and Burisma. Mr. Giuliani was expressing the desires of the President of the United States, and we knew that these investigations were important to the President. He's saying in his testimony that these were an open secret, also pointing the finger at John Bolton and Mike Pompeo as folks who were complicit in these arrangements. The testimony of Gordon Sondland had been widely anticipated because he is one of the only witnesses that is being called who has spoken directly with the President. There's uncertainty over how many times he spoke with the President, but indeed he is someone who appears to have the President's thinking, and now in his opening statement he will say that he believes there was a quid pro quo. Guys, back to you.
Elon, really quick, the Times this morning also adding another layer that he kept the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, perhaps more informed than we were previously led to believe. Any sign of that in the testimony that you've seen?
Well, the testimony itself is 19 pages long for his opening statement, so we are still digging through it. And of course, we'll hear him deliver it in just a few minutes. But one thing we also do know is that he largely confirms the account of a State Department aide who says that he overheard Gordon Sondland and the President discussing the investigations and Ukraine's response. So we'll see exactly how he characterizes that, both in his statement and in the many hours of testimony ahead of us.
All right, Elon, thank you for that. Starting us off a little earlier than the top of the hour. Elon Mui in Washington. Meantime, I'm Carl Quintanilla. David Faber here at Post 9 of the New York Stock Exchange. Jim, of course, is out at One Market as Dreamforce enters day 2. A lot of news today regarding China trade, but retail is the really big story, Jim. Target and Lowe's sort of offsetting the Home Depot Kohl's mood we got yesterday.
Yeah, let's just put to rest any notion that the tariffs are really hurting spending, that there's any real inflation, that the consumer's being hurt. Kohl's is an outlier. Home Depot had a glitch that if they manage to get it back on track, which they said they will, numbers are okay. Lowe's was really extraordinary. Marvin Ellison working his magic. Still feels like it's a work in progress. What can I say about Target? That's where people are shopping. So, I mean, I think that this whole storyline that it's Kohl's and Home Depot versus, say, Lowe's and Target is false. The dichotomy is that if you spend a lot of money on technology, you're winning, and if you didn't, you're losing. And the places that are spending, Walmart and Target, represent America. Make me feel very bullish about the consumer.
Home Depot's whole framework was that they are spending money, Jim. It's just that the benefits weren't coming soon enough.
Well, they screwed up. I usually they don't screw up, but the fact is that they thought there was a timeline that they had about where they were going to be. And one of the things that was most, I think, discouraging to people was that they said that their legacy systems needed to be adjusted. Well, we didn't know they had legacy systems. We thought that their systems were good. That's what I think was responsible for at least 6 points of that 12-point decline.
All right. So yesterday you said that you thought Lowe's was becoming the better buy. That's been ratified today?
Yeah. Marvin's doing a great job. And look, Ellison worked at Home Depot for a very long time. It looks like Lowe's didn't really spend nearly as much money as Home Depot. He's catching up on that. How about the fact that he's biting the bullet? The company took on in 2016 a huge chain of stores in Canada. It was too much. That's one of the reasons why the previous administration had to go. He's closing the stores that aren't working well. That is really kind of a new thing for Lowe's. He's still getting rid of the managers. He doesn't think he's doing a good job. The stores are looking better. Home Depot said they're taking share. I have to believe maybe they're taking share from mom and pops, but they're sure not taking it from Lowe's. This is a remarkable number. Both Lowe's and Target, their stocks are going to get a halo that indicates that if you buy them, even Target up 10, Lowe's up 6, at some point you're not going to be doing bad. I don't like to buy up 10 at the opening. But both those stocks are now up stocks, and they've become the anointed ones. Target will be anointed right through Christmas. Brian Cornell's interview with Becky was extraordinary. This man has the pulse of the consumer. He's winning. He's in places that nobody else is. He's taking share, I think, from Bed Bath, too. What a remarkable performance, and he was very self-effacing, which I love.
Yeah, it's worth coming back to the numbers themselves, I think. And to your point, Jim, those who bought the stock after that surprisingly strong last quarter are being rewarded yet again. It was not a one-off. It is a sign of a long-term seminal change at the company. To put it in perspective, and as they said on the call, they're talking about a 10% increase at this point over the last 2 years in their comp store sales. That's pretty darn significant. That's this quarter to 2 years ago's quarter. And when you have that kind of an increase, of course, your margin expands dramatically. And in this case, they're talking about margin dollars increasing more than 22% compared with a year ago. So that has resulted in what is nearly a 25% increase in adjusted earnings per share. And there is why the stock is hitting new highs all the time. In sharp contrast, of course, to what we saw yesterday with Kohl's in particular down dramatically, 19% on that pricing world that they described as being very competitive and one that they had to sort of try and keep a lead on. Although TJX, which I'm now going to point out the market cap of every time, $74 billion market cap TJX did have a good quarter as well. So it was a very mixed bag.
Well, they
thrive,
guess,
Jim. Yeah.
Look, Target has managed to use technology to make it so that their omnichannel is really working. TJX, they openly disdain the online world. Why? Because they have value. They have the lowest prices. It is such a love stock. I didn't want to. I mean, I knew everybody else was going to raise price. I mean, it's become a given. Kohl's talks about promotional. I've got to tell you, Target's talking promotional. And TJX, well, when you're promotional, then you have a lot of extra inventory. When you have extra inventory, it goes to TJX. The companies that are saying it's promotional, and by the way, Home Depot says promotional, they're not doing that well. And the companies that say things are good, they're not talking about promotional. They're talking about winning traffic. David, traffic is the goal, and Target is getting the traffic. Again, that leveraging, as you pointed out, you get the traffic, and then you do get the gross margins. You get the gross margins, then you get the big numbers. Target's not done going higher. I think people are really trying to seriously address the fact that Target not only is back to the old Target, but maybe the most superior retailer that is online in America. I can never say that Amazon is not superior.
Carl, that goes to what were digital comps that were up 31%, 49% a year ago. So again, growing very quickly.
And driven, they said 80% of the digital comp growth was because of same-day delivery, essentially. People wanting it the next day. And traffic up 3.1, Jim, to your point, versus a prior 2.4. As you mentioned, Brian Cornell, we did hear from earlier this morning on Squawk. This is what he said about the consumer.
We continue to see a very healthy consumer environment. Obviously, a very strong labor environment. Unemployment continues to be very low. The percentage of consumers that are in the workforce continues to grow. Wages are rising. Consumer confidence is strong. And all the indicators right now would say this is going to be a very solid holiday season.
And by solid, I guess they're looking at 3 to 4, Jim. All those streets already at 3.4.
Well, look, I mean, these are gigantic companies. So if he does 4, that's a big deal. Probably do more than that. The number raises were really extraordinary. I've been in visiting stores with Brian, and the stores he has multiple formats, by the way, which everyone told him he couldn't do. He's got inner city formats. He's got formats at college campuses. He's got very chic stores in some of the downtowns in America. And I've got to tell you, when I hear him and I hear his confidence, I feel confident. I think that the tape right now is reflecting, once again, both the impeachment and perhaps more tariffs. And look at what the market's done with this reflection of tariffs. You listen to these guys, and they're not talking tariffs. That's amazing. It's not supposed to be happening. I mean, I keep waiting for what I'm saying. Look, I hate Trump, and tariffs really hurt him. They haven't done that. They're just talking about the fact that the consumer's spending, and they're not being hurt by the tariffs. They're not talking. The tariffs aren't that important.
Well, we don't know what it would look like without them. We don't know what business investment would look like. We don't know what margins would look like. I mean, Macmillan did tell Becky, we would love to see these issues resolved. And we have seen some impact from tariffs.
And we're getting, if we get them in the middle of December, that is ones that will apply specifically to a lot of the stuff that comes out of a Target or a Walmart, right?
Well, look, I mean, Target admitted to Becky that they have a lot of Chinese merchandise, but every single month that goes by, he would tell you, anyone would tell you, they pull out of China. It's a supply chain issue. They don't even have the container ships that you see behind me later on today to be able to go into Haiphong Harbor. They have to be able to handle one of them. But India's winning, Thailand's winning, Indonesia's winning, Japan's winning, Korea's winning, and Vietnam's winning. And the longer it drags out, the more these guys recognize that they have to leave. I had Gary Friedman on last night, RH, the old Restoration Hardware. He said, look, we have to do this. We have to win this fight. He was very pro our strategy. And he said, look, the tariffs, they cost them a little bit. Everyone admits that it's a little bit, but the consumer's doing so well that it just seems to be lost in the shuffle. And a lot of the vendors have been taking the heat. I know that we can argue that I'm being way too, let's say, glib about the tariffs, but so are the really good retailers. The bad retailers are feeling the tariffs. They'll blame anything. I think the bad retailers don't like how the football season's going.
Well, we've been dealing with that for generations, right? Blaming weather, holiday seasons,
whatever you can
calendars.
Yeah. I know that Kohl's, there's some Kohl's that are located near Targets. Can you believe that it is so sunny on the Target side of the street, but it's just pouring rain on Kohl's side? It's extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, we need Al Roker to figure out what's going on with some of these retailers.
We'll get him on in the next hour, Jim. Let's turn to your workout at Dreamforce, which continues to be, of course, exemplary. Last night on Mad Money, Mark Benioff of Salesforce. Take a listen.
We're creating a $1 trillion economy. You can already see that is fully underway. Millions of jobs, millions of people who are participating in this Salesforce ecosystem. And we're absolutely 100% committed to making sure that everybody can join this new economy. That's why we built Trailhead, so we can reskill and retrain. And many of the people who are here have actually learned their skills online at Trailhead.
Now, Jim, we get the slide deck looking at revenue expectations for fiscal 20 and 21.
Right. Look, what we're seeing is just a lot of companies are converted to this economy. This is the first time I've heard this year that maybe Salesforce has gotten too expensive. But the return on investment in Salesforce is, there isn't an analyst who doesn't think it's worthwhile. A lot of the companies that are out here are partnering with Salesforce. What we did run in the clip was when I directly confronted Mark with the current performance of the stock, not by referencing how I feel, but I mentioned David Faber by name because I thought it was really important to say that David has openly questioned how well the stock's doing.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate that, and your never-ending attempts to make sure Mark and I are very close. I know he really appreciates that.
Yeah, well, I think it's important.
So next time he's here again, he won't even recognize me when I'm speaking, as he likes to sort of do. I always love that. Looks at me. I'm invisible to him. Specifically, though, to the numbers, Jim, they raised their fiscal 20 revenues to the high end of guidance? Is that right? Around $17 billion. Preliminary guidance at $20.9 billion for fiscal 21. I mean, kind of what the street was anticipating. Not seeing a big pre-market move up here in the stock.
No, and it wasn't like, look, Mark was much more talking about how well Tableau's doing. He had Adam Slipsky come in and crash my interview. Adam has nothing against you at all, David. Adam, of course, is a man who came from Amazon, making Amazon. What they're doing is leveraging and doing a lot of things with Amazon Web Services. That was a continual theme out here. And one of the things that Mark's doing is he always isolates a couple of clients. This year he's talking about Lamborghini and the personalization of Lamborghini. That's a $500,000 car, David. And also, Carl, I've got to tell you, one of the things he's saying is, look at Louis Vuitton, how well they're doing with us. Those characters behind him, those have made me feel like it was a Disney World experience.
You hate mascots. You hate them. Did they know that?
Well, they didn't really converse with me as much as I would have liked. There was no real back and forth.
I'm so sorry that you had to conduct an interview with those people. I mean, you must have wanted to go over and punch that thing in the head. I know you did.
Actually, I was thinking more of a 2x4, but yeah, you're right. I can be. Fisticuffs are fine. I mean, the guy in the middle, the guy in the middle was really just trying to just totally throw us off the whole time. And then the bear starts licking.
Look at him. Look at that. Oh, he deserved to be knocked out.
Well, my wife's coming to town, and she can give him a 1-2. She's beating me up many times. I know, it was hard.
Well, really well done with those ridiculous characters jumping up and down.
Well, how do you like that? I mentioned you by name, David.
Yeah,
I mentioned
you again
Carl.
for that.
I said, I think you're doing well, but David Faber has a different view.
Jim, we'll see you after the break. We're going to get your mad dash. We'll count down to the opening bell. Still got to get to some calls on names like J&J. Obviously, a big day for Apple. We'll cover some of the trade headlines that have futures down 74.
This CNBC program.
I've got to tell you about our beautiful city break in Bath. Midweek is the perfect time to beat the crowds. Just an hour and a half by train from London. It was so relaxing. We headed straight for Bath Christmas Market. Oh, I can still smell the roasted chestnuts and mulled wine from the chalets. Next, we donned our skates for Bath on ice. I'm a natural. Didn't have to hold on to anything or anyone. There's so much to do in Bath. I'm already planning my next trip.
Discover the magic of Bath this Christmas. Plan ahead at visitbath.co.uk/Christmas.
Whatever job you're searching for, you can find it on LinkedIn. First jobs, flexible jobs, work from home on a Friday jobs, advertising jobs, accounting jobs, HR, PR, even ER jobs, Soho jobs, Shoreditch jobs. Keep me away from the central line jobs. Banking jobs, building jobs, never ever boring jobs. Small jobs, big jobs, lunch in Borough Market jobs, or even voiceover jobs, which is how I ended up recording this ad. Search millions of jobs on LinkedIn and find one meant for you.
'Tis the season to be hunched over your laptop. Not on our watch. In real life, you can fill your senses and your baskets. Feel all the sights, sounds, lols, and OMGs. Wear laughing emojis on actual smiley faces. Batteries running low. Take the kids to Santa's Grotto. In real life, you can find just the right present using the most advanced search engine in the world. Your eyes. We heart in real life. Brent Cross, London. Free parking for all sleighs and cars.
I'm Jamie Theakston, and I've teamed up with TSB to share some incredible stories of people helping people up and down the country. It's called TSB Local Pride. Let me introduce you to Rachel Walmsley. Tell me about Luke's Lads.
Luke's Lads was formed in October 2018 in memory of Luke. We work with a wide variety of age groups with mental health issues. Sessions combine both physical and mental well-being, giving males an alternative environment to talk. Our proudest moments are hearing people state that Luke's Lads has changed their lives. Our mission was to help save one life, and we've helped more than we ever expected. They know that they're not alone.
Thanks to the project, Rachel is helping men address their mental health issues while getting fit. TSB are proud to celebrate stories of people helping people and to partner Pride of Britain. To find out more, search TSB Local Pride.
Once in a while, a movie comes along that leaves critics and audiences breathless. That movie is Le Mans 66.
We're gonna beat Ferrari with a Ford.
Are you nuts? Starring Academy Award winners Matt Damon and Christian Bale.
They hate guys like us because we're different.
Don't miss the
The opening bell on what Jim and I like to call hump day, even when we are 3,000 miles apart. What are we doing for a mad dash this morning? Medtronic is my understanding.
David, how about a $148 billion company that nobody ever talks about that has quietly been winning the device war? I mean, this medical diagnostic and device, such a big market. They bought an Israeli outfit called Mazor, M-A-Z-O-R. It is working for spine surgery. Very difficult to do. This kind of a intuitive surgical for spines. I see so much to like here just in terms of devices that go into your heart, atrial fibrillation. And this is the last year for Omar Ishrak. What a great job he's done. Very self-effacing. Last year with the stock at 82, he admitted that he felt that he didn't give a good presentation when he went to the JP Morgan Healthcare Conference. Well, I got to tell you, what a buy it was. That turned out to be the absolute bottom this year. Medtronic MDT goes higher.
Why doesn't it get talked about? Why isn't it something that, to the point you made, that is sort of discussed more often, given its size and importance?
Well, I think one of the reasons, first of all, is I had to kind of coax how well it was doing out of Omar. He wouldn't know what promotion was to save his life. Another thing is that there are every single company in the industry is doing well. So Boston Scientific's doing well. There's just a plethora of companies, Abbott Labs, that just do well. So I think he was kind of based saying, look, I'm part of this cohort that is doing very well. But, David, these companies save the healthcare system money. They all talk about that, but no one wants to give them credit because we're too busy talking about how some drugs are wildly overpriced. This is a terrific company that sells at less than 20 times earnings, that is growing consistently. I like this stock.
All right, and you can see right there, roughly in line with the S&P's performance over the course of the year. Jim, stay right there. We're going to take a quick break, but coming up, the road ahead for rates and the economy. It is an exclusive with Fed Governor Lael Brainerd. Stick around. Squawk on the Street is coming right back.
I believe ETFs are a great...
At Lidl, we're big on getting in the Christmas spirit with our award-winning 8-year-old Queen Margot blended Scotch whisky for just $12.99 and our award-winning range of Hortus Artisan gins and gin liqueurs from only $9.99. Big on a Christmas you can believe in. Now that's big on quality and always Lidl on price. Subject to availability, selected stores excludes an eye.
Christmas is such a magical time of year for little ones. But why should the big kids miss out? This season, take the family to Santa's Wonderlab at West London Audi. You get to test drive the latest Audi models, and the children get to test drive the latest toys with Santa. There's something for the whole family. Visit santaswonderlab.com to find out more about how to register for your place at Santa's Wonderlab this Christmas.
The world is a noisy place. But whether I'm here or here, my phone calls are always loud and clear on my Doro 6620. Hi, love. Yes, I can hear you perfectly. I'm 10 minutes away. Get your Doro 6620 from Amazon, Tesco, and O2 today.
Elsa, the past is not what it seems. You must find the truth. Journey into the unknown with Disney's Frozen 2, the most anticipated musical movie event of the year.
We do this together, okay?
This November.
I believe in you, Elsa, more than anyone or anything. Into the end.
Change is in the air. Frozen 2 in cinemas November 22nd.
Yes, madam.
Hi, can I get a blanket, please? And a pair of those lovely little headphones and another bottle of water.
Madam, the plane has landed.
I know.
Like getting your money's worth? Enjoy the delicious mayo chicken. Just 99p from the McDonald's Saver menu. From 11 a.m, price and participation may vary.
Futures week, as the Journal says, a phase 1 deal with China is at risk of an impasse. But the mood on retail much better today than yesterday. We're going to get the opening bell in just over 7 minutes.
CNBC's Capital Exchange. Oh, these walls are definitely on my naughty list.
Want your walls to be merry and bright? Get to B&Q. 2.5 litre Good Home Durable Matte Emulsion is just £16. And being wiped clean, there's no need to worry about mucky little mitts this Christmas. So why not add some festive cheer and impress your guests too? Bring the magic home with B&Q.
At TUI, we can help you find the perfect getaway for two. We fly to over 70 destinations worldwide, so wherever you have in mind, we'll help you get there. Book now and choose from thousands of holidays under $399 per person and pay £0 deposit when paying with direct debit. Book online or in store with one of our travel experts. At TUI, we cross the T's, dot the I's and put you in the middle. Offer available on selected holidays for a limited time and subject to availability. Booking T's and C's apply. At All Protected.
The puck drops. 12 players face off to win. The suspense is pure torture, but you wouldn't miss this for the world. TuneIn brings you every minute of the NHL season. Listen live to hockey when it matters most on TuneIn.
Want to know what's happening in right now? The latest headlines are just a tap away with Fox News Talk on TuneIn. When news breaks, get up-to-the-minute coverage on developing stories from around the world. Plus, hear all the Fox shows you watch on your TV. Listen to Fox News Talk around the clock on TuneIn.
Hey, NFL fan, can't watch the game? Can't be there? No biggie. With your TuneIn Premium membership, you already have an all-access pass to every team and every game in the league. Amazing, right?
Steps up, floats it towards, at the goal line, it's intercepted!
Listen live as the action unfolds or on demand when you can. Anytime, anywhere, all season long.
Right side, it is caught. It is in for the right side for the touchdown to Keenan.
Search NFL today.
Hey, can't watch the big NBA game because your life's just too busy? I've got some news for you. TuneIn Premium is the answer to all your problems. Hear every home and away game live or on demand everywhere you go. Just search NBA to listen.
Want to hear about the latest and greatest things to listen to on TuneIn? For reminders of the biggest live sports games, debates, and breaking news stories, follow at TuneIn on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay connected with the audio that matters to you. You're listening to TuneIn, where you can hear all the audio you love in one place. Live NFL games, the hottest music, breaking news, and podcasts. Push play and go about your day, only on TuneIn.
You're watching CNBC Squawk on the Street, live from the financial capital of the world. The opening bell in about 4.5 minutes. Very busy Wednesday as we keep one eye on the Hill and one eye on trade. These renewed trade concerns weighing on sentiment today. The Journal says that stalled U.S.-China talks are raising the threat of an impasse at deadlock, which could derail the plan to move forward with Phase 1 this year. Both sides reportedly standing firm on key issues like tariff rollbacks and ag purchases. Jim, I noticed Goldman last night comes out and says, we recently wrote that we thought tariffs had peaked. That said, we also believe the probability of a tariff increase now has risen.
Oh, yeah, by the day, I don't know where Goldman gets its stuff. I mean, maybe they're just talking to the wrong people, mostly the Treasury Secretary. There's no desire to do anything other than raise the tariffs. I think the president's even questioning whether a big ag buy at this point would even stop him from raising tariffs. Remember, the president believes very strongly that the tariffs are bringing in a lot of money. He's watching the Dow. He's watching now, David, the S&P. And remember, he talked about the NASDAQ. So he's no longer just talking about atavistic indices. So, Carl, I think basically the president feels like not only is he in the driver's seat, I think he wants to press the bet. I think that you're seeing a part of the White House saying they're snubbing us. They're not doing anything right. And you know what? Let's not forget Hong Kong. They don't look so good in Hong Kong. So right now, I know that the Chinese are playing the long game. I've been saying they've been playing the wrong game.
Yeah. Well, listen, I think people would be wise to listen to what you've been saying, Jim. I would point out by that Journal story today, doesn't really say anything new. I mean, they're citing former administration officials and people from, people who are watching the talks. So yeah, that's not adding that much that we didn't already know.
No, they'll write that story every 3 days, David. I saw that story on Monday. I think the story was on Thursday. The editors must love that story. It's fun. Let's see. I hope a variant of that Sunday night.
But, Jim, what's interesting is that the market doesn't really seem concerned, if I can put it that way, in terms of the possibility that we're not going to get a Phase 1 deal, that we are going to see more tariffs put on within a month. I don't see any real reaction I can point to in the stock market unless you're telling me it simply is already discounting that, which seems hard to imagine.
I think it is discounting. And not only that, but Gary Friedman from RH, Restoration Hardware, he's saying bring them on. I mean, he's ready. And they make a lot of stuff in China.
So
I think the new narrative, David.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is what? You don't think then that the stock market is going to? You don't think the stock market is going to suffer a fall when we get a headline or we get a tweet from the president that says we're done for now. Tariffs are going on. You don't think there's going to be a reaction? We're already discounting that
2 to 3% decline. 2 to 3% decline. But when you listen to Brian Cornell talk or Doug McMillan, the tariffs are really not that much of a factor. Remember, David, we should be having roaring inflation right now. We should be in a trade war with the rest of the world right now. I think that the story is that a lot of people just think, not unlike when Brezhnev and Khrushchev were running the Soviet Union, that the Chinese are all powerful and there's nothing you can do. But the president's not buying that. No more than Reagan bought it. Reagan didn't believe that the Soviet Union was all powerful. I don't know. I mean, I think hate them or like them, you got to recognize that the tariffs are just not bringing down the American consumer. The American consumer is spending like that, except for not in Kohl's.
They are impacting business investment as we all know.
And rolling 3-month retail sales have gone from 10 to 4 since the spring. So, I mean, we are seeing a deceleration in the consumer.
Target, Amazon, and Walmart are saying great things. Who else is there? I mean,
those are market share stories, Jim, are they not?
Well, I mean, look, we're not trading, Joe's hardware store. I mean, what we trade, what we invest in, these companies, really coupled with the technology I see, are doing well. And I struggle to see where President Xi is hurting the comparable store sales of Lowe's.
Well, they cut rates again for the third time this year. One of their new benchmark rates. So that helped Asia overnight.
I'm worried about the Chinese. I'm worried about the Chinese. I'm thinking that Chinese stock market is where we're valued. Look at this Pinduoduo. I mean, that's another company that was that was up. It was a stock that came public. Another online exchange from China. Look at all that stock. PDD. Look at PDD. They need tariffs cut.
Luckin Coffee's doing pretty well, though.
PDD.
Luckin Coffee.
Luckin, yeah, big short squeeze.
Yeah.
Huge short squeeze. Really well orchestrated by the Chinese and some American managers, including some top-notch people
perhaps the most
understand.
important barometer we have, did price at 180 over in Hong Kong, raising $13 billion.
David, did they not have a road show because they didn't need it, or did they not have a road show because the road was blocked by protesters?
Here, meanwhile, a completely different tone as the Harlem Globetrotters ringing the opening bell, playing some catch with the crowd. That's here at the big board. Over at the NASDAQ, of course, watching the opening bell there as well. By the way, Globetrotters' 94th year of touring at MSG, December 27th at the NASDAQ. TFF Pharma focused on improving the absorption of poorly water-soluble drugs. Yeah, Jim?
I saw the Boston Shamrocks actually give the Globetrotters a run. And for a moment, I thought the Shamrocks were going to take them. But the Shamrocks have never, in over 90 years, they've never beaten the Globetrotters? Who plays for the Shamrocks?
Or the Washington Generals. Wasn't that the other team that always played them?
The Washington Generals. I always thought that this was going to be the game that they won. I saw the Generals have a run, but you know what? In the end, the Generals always lost too. How was it possible that the Shamrocks and the Generals never won? How? Who are they playing? Who's their general manager?
Don't have an answer for you.
No, of course not.
Jim, a lot of talk yesterday about AMD having the fifth highest RSI of the Russell 3000, and wondering whether or not you think it's time to ring the register here.
No. Lisa Su has got an unbelievable lineup of chips. I think that she is the only person who can give Jensen Huang a run for his money. Don't forget, Jensen on last night for NVIDIA. Oh, my God, what a story he's talking about. Landing people on Mars with the ship actually hurtling at 12,000 miles a second. And he found a way to model it so it won't crash. Lisa Su and Jensen Huang are the winners in that segment. And by the way, I have to tell you that let's not forget that Broadcom is doing very well too. So I would not sell AMD, not here, not with this momentum, not stock momentum in chips. I really think Lisa Su has got a fabulous lineup versus Intel.
Is Jensen Huang creating the Matrix? Is that what's really going on here? You
know what? I don't think it was really Jensen Huang. I think it was actually an artificial intelligence version of him. It was a simulation. He's unbelievable. That jacket, too. I got to get one of those jackets. Maybe that's what makes it happen.
What is he modeling, Jim? He's modeling going to Mars?
The spaceship that we're landing a bunch of guys on Mars in 2025. And apparently you have to send that thing hurtling in. And I think that Jensen has figured out exactly the way to make it so that the spacecraft does not crash. Talk about a guy who's thinking 5 years ahead of us, David.
All right. I didn't even know that we were planning on that.
Oh, my. You kidding me? I thought you were going to be on it.
Only if you're going, baby.
No, but I am going to jump. I'm going to do a jump at the U.S. Air Force Academy. I'm jumping out there.
You're going to jump out of an airplane.
Yeah,
right,
I got to talk to my life insurance guy first, see what I can get.
Not solo, though. You're going to be attached to somebody, right?
Yeah, do a tandem.
Yeah.
Don't do a static line. That's
No, to start, I'll do tandem just because I'm a little... my wife has asked me to use 4 people to hang on to in case one falls.
Jim, we're going to watch Apple today. Tim Cook already tweeting about their new facility in Austin. President's going to tour. Eamon Javers is there. 7,000 employees, and you talked to Tim recently.
Yeah, I got to tell you, this thing is just so... The facility itself is a marvel of how big it is and how much money they're spending. But I will also tell you that he had an amazing conversation yesterday with Mark Benioff about finally getting the enterprise. We all have these great phones, right? But they're often connected with an outfit that is involved with a tussle with Xerox, HP. And I think what Tim is finally saying is we're going to break that hammerlock that HP has on all the information technology guys, and it's going to be done through Accenture. It's going to be done through SAP. So remember, they're not in the enterprise. We're all kind of sick of having one device not talking to another. This could be a major breakthrough. Apple has really struck out in the enterprise. They're starting to win. They mentioned HEB as an outfit, largest private employer in Texas, that has made it so that they're no longer using these. I think we're all tired of the hostage of HP. We're hostage. It's driving us crazy.
I'll tell you a company that has killed it in the enterprise, which you know, of course, is Microsoft. Not HP, Microsoft, which is up again today. And that market cap contest between Microsoft and Apple is very, very close right now. But amazing what Nadella's done over there, Jim. Not just the cloud.
Revere.
365. They're coming after Slack. Just in terms of so many different areas right now. Gaming, we don't really ever talk about.
Do you know, David, that in gaming, they are starting to make hardware? Very quietly.
Yeah.
Making hardware in gaming. And it's fantastic. So I think that whatever Satya seems to set his mind on is very different from when Steve was running the joint. Whatever he set his mind on was good. I remember when Steve was using that Microsoft phone. He was the only person, I think, mostly in Northeast America using it. But I do think that it's remarkable. Satya has no longer, remember, they are no longer in league with Salesforce. Satya, it's an axis of Satya, Shantanu Narayan, and Adobe. They are doing their own thing. And because Azure's so powerful, they're getting away with it. Remember, Azure's with them, and Amazon Web Services is with Mark and Mark's world, Benioff. So, I mean, there's enough room for everybody. Now, is there enough room for Alphabet and for Google, cloud services? I'm going to work on that one all the rest of the week. Just quietly behind the scenes,
Yeah, they have been the also-ran so far, of course, changing the leadership at their cloud division not that long ago from Diane Green, Jim. But
Thomas Curry and
you always do wonder what they're going to do, what they can do, whether they would ever entertain an acquisition of some kind. And then there's IBM, which we really haven't talked about. I mean, and your friend Whitehurst, who, I don't know, is he going to get that job if Ginny leaves?
I'm going to try to talk to him. He's out here, and this is obviously the purchase of Red Hat. And I think that IBM, they didn't deliver last quarter, but I do think the longer that Red Hat gets integrated, the better. By the way, VMware, I should have mentioned them. They're pretty much with everybody. That's another great stock, and it's kind of unbelievable. It's Michael Dell. But yeah, IBM is not making the splash that I thought they would by this point. Hey, by the way, Salesforce down. It probably confirms your theory, David.
I don't have a theory, Jim. I just pointed out that the stock, listen, by the way, it's fine. Last 3 months, it's up 11%. Last 12 months, but it's It had been flat for a while. That's all.
David,
That's all
is Theory to you a shirt? Is Theory to you a clothing company?
You know what? By the way, you can at TJX you can get those Theory shirts for $39.99, or maybe it's $20. Yeah, $39.99.
Did I tell you about the pair of black slacks that I got for $17 that I saw at Macy's for $40?
Yeah.
And they stretch. They're perfect.
The one right here, it's the only store that I actually ever go into.
David, the line was so long, I took a picture of it the other day. I cannot stand how long the line is. And I ask people, and they say, hey, it's worth the wait. Like I'm wrong that I'm in that line to buy a belt because I forgot my belt that day.
Yeah.
It looked bad, by the way, on Mad Dash. People could tell.
Speaking of retail, Target is up 7.5%. Carl, of course, following
Not
through
enough.
on given those. Not enough? You think more? You think it deserves to be even higher than $119.48?
It'll be at 121, 122. And, you can say all you want about tariffs. Brian Cornell, I'm telling you, he is more worried about the weather than he is tariffs.
Well, we do have lower today. L Brands, Ulta, Harley, Gap, Nordstrom. We haven't talked about Urban much.
Well, Urban, they were very downbeat right at the top of their conference call. Their online is just not hitting it. I think this is, again, the brick and mortar conundrum. And they're in a lot of malls. Remember, the mall is... we see Carl Icahn betting against the mall. I think for every one good mall, there's about 2 or 3 bad malls. And mall is no way to shop because, boy, you can't pull up to it. And no one runs your car from a mall.
Macy's and Nordstrom both were down sharply yesterday on the Kohl's numbers. Macy's now has roughly a 10% yield, Jim.
The balance sheet's been improved by Jeff Gannett. I think the issue, again, is just existential. Why shop at Macy's? You can get a lot of that stuff online. Becky asked a great question about Nike and the fact that Nike's leaving Amazon. Will it benefit Target? Brian Cornell kind of punted on that answer. He didn't punt on most. But the fact is that I go to see Macy's, and they still haven't been able to distinguish, like Kohl's, why I should buy there, why it should live. Why does it live?
That wholesale model is definitely challenged. Jim, really quick, we have not talked about oil. Worst day since September. Yesterday, down 3 or 4, down 17% from the April high. What's it going to take to stabilize crude?
I think that crude is in such long. We're so long in. I mean, we got John. I don't know. I mean, Venezuela knocked totally offline. The Saudis cutting back a couple million barrels to be able to boost their own bogus IPO. I don't know. I mean, I do think that, by the way, international drilling is finally picking up. That's only going to put more pressure. They've got the Permian has got to stop pumping. The Occidental deal, David, that was it. That was it. That was the last straw.
Last straw for what? That was the top? What?
Remember the straw in There Will Be Blood? That was the last straw. There's too many straws. They gotta stop. They have to just shut down the pumping, but they won't, because all they know how to do is pump. But I remember the late Aubrey McClendon just saying, you know what the biggest problem with oil people is? All they know how to do is pump. They don't hold back. They just pump and pump and pump. And they're pumping.
That is a horrible looking chart.
Isn't that awful? Even you recognize a bad chart when you see it. Even you.
Even I do. You crack me up more when you're 3,000 miles away. I don't know why. When you're here...
Well, because you can't hit me during the commercial.
That's true.
I mean, you swim, you're working out. People don't realize how hard you hit me during the commercials. I mean, you give me a beat down every commercial. I don't get that now when I'm out here. Carl, I feel liberated, and I no longer feel like I got to go take boxing lessons because he can't hit me. He doesn't have the reach.
He can't hit you. You still should have hit those plush characters that were bombarding your interview with Benioff. I'm telling you, you were nice to them. Guys, AT&T down again, 1.2%. We didn't really mention it yesterday. This downgrade from Moffett yesterday. I missed it. So, I mean, I didn't miss it. I just forgot. Frankly, I had read the entire thing. It was down 4% yesterday, another 1.2%. So, pretty significant decline in shares of AT&T. Simply said, just pointing to what he believes is going to be the difficulty they're going to have even hitting that 1% revenue growth and their EPS targets, given roughly 60% of the business is made up of Warner Media and DirecTV, and those are not performing particularly well, and that so much is going to be reliant on wireless growing at a rate it hasn't grown at previously.
Right. Calvin's got a great piece out this morning, Jim. You probably saw even though we're getting flooded with new entrants on streaming, they don't expect consumer spending on streaming to rise more than 1.7 CAGR for the next 5 years. So it's largely free. Why would you expect people to spend more?
I don't know. I mean, I think there's going to be winners and losers, not unlike what we saw with .coms. Amazing, this Roku. You can't stop it. Roku is incredible. I thought that ATT piece, when I finished reading that, I wanted to cry. I mean, it basically, there isn't everything that they're doing, according to that piece, is not working. And particularly wireline, by the way, continues to be. I read that piece and I just said, oh, I feel bad for those guys, no matter what they do.
Wireline.
They need to bring back the Great American.
He's Mr. Bucas. Yeah, Moffett has been negative on AT&T for some time, but not with that reason. By the way, going to be able to talk about all of these different issues with John Malone tomorrow. My annual interview with Mr. Malone, of course, the chairman of Liberty Media, and a whole cast of others as well on Liberty's big analyst or investor day. Jim Meyer from Sirius, Scott Rutledge from Charter, Greg Maffei, of course. There you can take a look at some of the people I'll be speaking to. Led off by Mr. Malone, who I always look forward to speaking to.
David, last year, Discovery went up $10 after that interview. Could you please do that to Viacom? Could you get him to...
Well, Discovery is up this week in part because he did buy 2.67 million shares on Monday. And he may have sold some calls. I want to find out. But we're going to ask him about Discovery, of course, as well, which has had a very good week in part on that purchase by Malone, although the new houses did sell stock.
All right, guys. Early session lows. Dow's down 66. Let's get to Bob. Morning, Bob.
Morning, guys. 2-1 declining to advancing stocks. Tariff and trade still the marginal mover of the market, but pretty modestly. Again, a very narrow trading range. This has been going on for a while now. Take a look at the sectors and consumer staples, defensive group leading. The only reason consumer discretionary is up is because Target and Lowe's is pushing them all higher. Most of the stocks here are down. Utilities, flattish. Semis, predictably down. There's trade. Banks, keep an eye on the banks here. We've been straight down on yields for a couple of weeks now. So what were we, 196 on the 10-year a couple weeks ago? We're 176, 175 today. So keep an eye on that one. That might bear watching. Retail, you talked about what was going on here. Of course, we've got Target and Lowe's, great numbers from them. TJX had decent numbers as well, but flat. Home Depot, disappointing numbers yesterday, but really rather modest response overall. What these have in common, two things. Number one, they're all winners. Target's up, 80%? That is not a typo. This year, we're looking at that. That's a new high. Lowe's has been huge this year. That's up 29%, I believe. TJX has been big. That's up 35%. These are the winners in retail, all here. Home Depot also, even despite that 5% drop yesterday, 30% to the upside. So this is what they have in common. They're all winners. The second thing they have in common is basically when they were asked if they had the opportunity, the consumer is really strong. Brian Cornell, we've been playing this. Becky's interview with Brian noted here, we continue to see very healthy consumer environment, strong labor environment. All the indicators say this is going to be a solid holiday season. Nonetheless, the stock market, a lot of complacency, sort of grinding higher on not a lot of news. Very narrow range in the last couple of weeks, very low volatility. There is seasonal strength. We get these upticks day after day, and more money kind of comes in. That FOMO we keep talking about. No reason for anybody to get panicky or concerned, but it is a little bit complacent right now, and I think that people are talking about that. As for the tariffs, you can't help but feel that the talks are stalled somehow. So there's sort of three choices the market keeps talking about. Number one is an actual situation where you get a real deal, a phase one deal. No new tariffs and existing tariffs are rolled back. The question is, what kind of concessions would the president get for that? That seems to be stalled out a little bit. That's a problem right now. Then there's what everybody down here calls phase one light, where there's you get essentially you're removing one kind of tariff. There's no new tariffs coming on in exchange for some kind of buying of agricultural products, phase one light, and then you get no phase one deal at all, and you do have tariffs come on December 15th. So there's three choices here. We just can't figure out what the probabilities of them happening are. If you want to know what's going to move the market in the next couple of days, I think it's going to be the manufacturing numbers that are going to come out overall. Here's, by the way, is Brian Cornell's number, quote we saw earlier. We continue to see a very healthy consumer environment, strong labor environment. All the indicators right now say this is going to be a very strong holiday season. PMIs are going to be out on Friday. That's the next potential market mover. Remember, there's a belief that somehow the global economy is starting to bottom. No recession talk, but keep an eye on what's going to happen. The S&P near new highs right now. We're going to get PMIs for the United States. We're going to get PMIs for the Eurozone. So France and Germany will be getting manufacturing PMIs. We've had a nice move up there. They're just off the highs. Japan also PMIs on Friday. So remember, this idea, lower global growth, but still solid. We'll test that on Friday. Carl, back to you.
All right, Bob, thanks very much. Going to get Fed minutes this afternoon. Let's keep our eye on the bond pits. Rick Santelli in Chicago this morning. Hey, Rick.
Good morning, Carl. You know, the globe has this feeling, and the markets several weeks ago, especially the fixed income, the interest rate markets I cover, certainly seem to buy into what Bob was talking about, global bottoming. But if you really start to kick the tires, it seems to me it's more of a hint of more fiscal involvement in the months and quarters ahead. But boy, we're pretty sketchy on details and actual dates on that. And I also want to point out, China tinkered with some rates, lowering them a bit. But lowering rates in China doesn't have the same effect as it does in many economies because of the way the government actually doles out capital. China circumvents how important an interest rate, the cost of your capital actually is. We continue to see the downward move in rates. It's been continuous in a low volatility environment, but it's impossible not to see the breadth of it globally. Look at a November start to 2-year note yields, and remember, pretty much everything on the curve is hovering near the lowest closing yields of November outside of the first several sessions, as you see on that chart. If we look at 1 week of 10s, you can really see the dynamic I'm talking about as we continue to cascade lower. First close under 180 in 2.5 weeks. And if you look at 30-year bonds, maybe this says it the most. It's the most squeamish as the yields go down. 218 would be the violation. We're at 221. We get under 218, we're at the lowest closing yield since October. And finally, how has all this made us on the relative value trade? The distance between our 10-year yields and European 10-year yields continues to narrow. And right now, it's not very many basis points away from the tightest, the closest it's been in 21 months. Carl, David, Jim, back to you.
All right, Rick, thanks. Still to come this morning, the CEO of Booking Holdings. The shares of Priceline's parent are in the green this year, unlike some of their rivals, Expedia and Trip. Dow down 65 to start this Wednesday. We're at 31.15. Don't go away.
The Bond Report.
On 3, our unlimited data is actually unlimited, like for reals. That means you can scroll and scroll and scroll through all the Black Friday deals.
Because we have no speed limits, no data caps, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost.
Wow, so many savings.
Our Black Friday deals are now on. Save up to £480. Switch to 3, in-store or online. See 3.co.uk/unlimited-data. Savings on selected phones on 24-month contracts. Ends 5th of December. Terms apply.
Christmas is such a magical time of year for little ones. But why should the big kids miss out? This season, take the family to Santa's Wonderlab at West London Audi. You get to test drive the latest Audi models, and the children get to test drive the latest toys with Santa. There's something for the whole family. Visit santaswonderlab.com to find out more about how to register for your place at Santa's Wonderlab this Christmas.
Elsa, the past is not what it seems. You must find the truth. Journey into the unknown with Disney's Frozen 2, the most anticipated musical movie event of the year.
We do this together, okay?
This November.
I believe in you, Elsa, more than anyone or anything. Into the air.
Change is in the air. Frozen 2 in cinemas November 22nd.
Did you know that at Boots.com, there are thousands of amazing gifts to choose from? And if you order online, they can be delivered to the boots of your choice for collection. So gift like you get them at the fantastical choice of thousands of gifts to order and collect boutique. Charges may apply. See Boots.com for details.
Going, gone.
Some things just don't hang around, like a great deal in Tesco Mobile's best ever Black Friday event. Right now you can get the Samsung Galaxy S10 for just $29.99 a month, but this deal ends Sunday 1st of December. Catch it before it's gone. Tesco Mobile's best ever Black Friday event. Tesco Mobile, every little helps.
Best ever Black Friday based on range of products in promotion was £35.99, now £29.99. Offer ends 1st of December. 36-month credit agreement, rolling monthly usage agreement, subject to status, phase policy applies. See tescomobile.com/terms. London. There's nothing like coming back to a warm home after a long day at work, especially when you've been stuck in rush hour for what seems like an eternity. Luckily, with Hive Active Heating, you can turn your heating on from wherever you are. And with our Black Friday offer, enjoy 25% off, plus a free Amazon Echo Dot. Search Hive Heating to buy now. Hive services require broadband and Wi-Fi. Terms apply. Offer ends 2nd December.
Major indices are lower, but there's a bright spot on retail today thanks to those first two names, Target and Lowe's, out with results and guidance that's largely positive. We're back in a moment. Don't go away.
Wall Street.
At TUI, we can help you find the perfect getaway for two. We fly to over 70 destinations worldwide, so wherever you have in mind, we'll help you get there. Book now and choose from thousands of holidays under $399 per person and pay £0 deposit when paying with direct debit. Book online or in store with one of our travel experts. At TUI, we cross the T's, dot the I's and put you in the middle. Offer available on selected holidays for a limited time and subject to availability. Booking T's and C's apply. At all protected.
Want to know what's happening in right now? The latest headlines are just a tap away with Fox News Talk on TuneIn. When news breaks, get up-to-the-minute coverage on developing stories from around the world. Plus, hear all the Fox shows you watch on your TV. Listen to Fox News Talk around the clock on TuneIn.
College football is live on TuneIn. Listen for free to games from more than 140 schools all season long.
To the 10, all the way to the checkerboards, but he stays on his feet and scores.
Number 2 Ohio State looks to clinch the Big Ten Eastern Title Division outright and a spot in the Big Ten Conference Championship game as they host the 9th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions in Columbus. This Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Listen to every call and every game of your school all season long for free on TuneIn. Penn State at Ohio State. Just search college to listen today. Want TuneIn to remind you when the big NFL game is about to get underway? Be sure notifications are allowed on your phone and search NFL on the TuneIn app. Find the game you want to hear under events and tap Notify Me. We'll let you know exactly when it's time to listen in for kickoff.
To LeBron, slam dunk.
The NBA is on TuneIn Premium. Each week, TuneIn picks an NBA game you just can't miss. James Harden and the Houston Rockets are in LA to take on Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers.
Harden pulls back, trying to make it 11-2. Kawhi Leonard is all over the place.
This Friday, the Houston Rockets are at the LA Clippers. Tip-off is at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Search NBA on TuneIn to follow your favorite NBA team today.
From ESPN and the award-winning producers of The Sterling Affairs comes the latest season of 30 for 30 podcasts. 4 brand new stories of espionage.
He wanted this team to be the Barcelona of women's basketball.
Resilience.
I started to scream. I tried to get away.
Corruption.
It's the culture of win at all costs.
And rebirth.
How will we ever rebuild it?
30 for 30 podcasts, season 6. Listen and favorite 30 for 30 podcasts on TuneIn.
Jim, what's on Mad tonight?
Who empowers all the great retailers? How about Okta for identification? How about Tableau Data for analyzing data? And how about PagerDuty for making sure that it all works? That's who we have.
Are you getting enough rest out there? I know you got late nights and it's an early call time.
No, tonight is Fleetwood Mac, and I'd like to talk maybe with Stevie Nicks at the end of it. So I won't go to bed tonight. That's what makeup's for.
It's good for you. It's really good for your health not to get any sleep at all. I recommend it highly.
Thank you, David. Thank you, David. I knew that
you're affected his on-air performance.
No, I mean, David can't punch me. I'm playing a new game.
Here, I'd just give you a little whack, but I know I can't.
Yeah, you're beat really down. They last about as long as my, I don't know, as Mad Money has.
Jim, we'll see you tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern. When we come back, Leisman with an exclusive. Fed Governor Lael Brainerd. Don't go away.
It's a madhouse.
they buy things, and I'm wondering, where did this even come from?
On 3, our unlimited data is actually unlimited, like 4 reels. That means you can scroll and scroll and scroll through all the Black Friday deals.
Because we have no speed limits, no data caps, and you'll be 5G ready at no extra cost.
Wow, so many savings.
Our Black Friday deals are now on. Save up to £480. Switch to 3, in-store or online. See 3.co.uk/unlimited-data. Savings on selected phones on 24-month contracts. Ends 5th of December. Terms apply.
If your ideas challenge the status quo, if you have advised people you had no right advising, if you built companies and lost companies and built them again, if you've been called a pillock, a dreamer, an innovator and a genius, if you thrive in the 11th hour, if you have blown it and completely nailed it in the same day, prepare for your next departure.
Do business right. Travel Virgin Atlantic.
Did you know that at Boots.com, there are thousands of amazing gifts to choose from? And if you order online, they can be delivered to the boots of your choice for collection. So gift like you get them at the fantastical choice of thousands of gifts to order and collect boutique. Charges may apply. See Boots.com for details.
London. There's nothing like coming back to a warm home after a long day at work, especially when you've been stuck in rush hour for what seems like an eternity. Luckily, with Hive Active Heating, you can turn your heating on from wherever you are. And with our Black Friday offer, enjoy 25% off, plus a free Amazon Echo Dot. Search Hive Heating to buy now. Hive services require broadband and Wi-Fi. Terms apply. Offer ends 2nd December.
Into the end zone, touchdown.
NFL fans, hear every live game on TuneIn Premium.
He runs inside. He's got a 10, 5, touchdown!
This Thursday, hear the home and away call as the Indianapolis Colts visit the Houston Texans at 8:20 p.m. Eastern.
Firing, caught, 10, 5, touchdown!
At home or on the go, hear the home and away call of every NFL game this season on TuneIn Premium. Upgrade today. College football is live on TuneIn. Listen for free to games from more than 140 schools all season long.
To the 10, all the way to the checkerboard. Touchdown on his feet and scores.
Number 2 Ohio State looks to clinch the Big Ten Eastern Title Division outright and a spot in the Big Ten Conference Championship game as they host the 9th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions in Columbus. This Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Listen to every call and every game of your school all season long for free on TuneIn. Penn State at Ohio State. Just search college to listen today.
Good Wednesday morning. Welcome back to Squawk on the Street. I'm Carl Quintanilla with Courtney Reagan. David Faber here, in for Sarah Eisen at Post 9 of the New York Stock Exchange. Markets having a little trouble getting out of the gate, but not by much. Dow's down 58, S&P down about 4 as we keep our eye on the impeachment hearing, China trade, and, of course, retail earnings.
Yeah, retail earnings continue to roll on. Another busy day today and after the bell yesterday. Our roadmap starts there. Retail resurgence, Target and Lowe's moving higher on their blowout quarters ahead of the big holiday shopping season.
Plus, quote, the enduring power of American ingenuity. Tim Cook hosting the president at Apple's manufacturing plant in Austin today.
And later, an exclusive with Federal Reserve Governor Lael Brainerd. That's ahead of today's Fed minutes.
But we do begin with retail, as aforementioned. Target trading at record highs on the heels of its blowout quarter. The company raising its full-year guidance heading into the holiday season. Shares are higher by more than 12%. Shares of Lowe's also higher after raising its own forecast for the year, though a bit of a mixed result. All of today's numbers coming in a week ahead of one of the biggest shopping days of the year. Earlier today, our Becky Quick sat down with Target CEO Brian Cornell and got his thoughts on the state of the consumer.
We continue to see a very healthy consumer environment. Obviously, a very strong labor environment. Unemployment continues to be very low. The percentage of consumers that are in the workforce continues to grow. Wages are rising. Consumer confidence is strong. And all the indicators right now would say this is going to be a very solid holiday season.
I think Cornell has obviously been talking about the strength of the consumer for some time, but many of the retailers, even those that put up less than stellar results like a Home Depot, saying, look, the consumer is strong. Home Depot pointing to a lot of sort of internal factors for some of the disappointments with the sales. So I think that's good because we know it's been the linchpin holding up the economy and perhaps some of the market strength that we've seen as well. Urban Outfitters is an interesting one. They reported after the bell. Shares down sharply by more than 13%. Seems a little bit overdone to me. They did miss on the top and bottom line, but just slightly. Wasn't so terrible, and they said that sales quarter to date are up, though they didn't give a ton more color beyond that. So it seems like a bit of an overreaction, but still goes to show you all of these barbell stocks. Either you are good or you are not. It seems like there's two camps to sit in.
We saw it yesterday, of course, as well. Both Home Depot and even more so Kohl's, which we're obviously reporting on, getting hammered yesterday. And then Macy's and Nordstrom thrown into the mix because they're mall-based. But today, Target so strong. 10%, more or less, 2 years, 10% comp store sales growth over a 2-year period this quarter to 2 years ago quarter. And the margin improvement is dramatic, which is why they're raising guidance so substantially.
It is, and I think Target has this very unique mix where it sells consumable products, and that drives traffic. You have to refill your shampoo, your conditioner, things like that. But then also they have a really good private label brand business. They've rebuilt a lot of those brands, introduced new ones. And if you go in maybe for your Tide, you're also walking out with, some new apparel. Apparel and accessories up 10% for Target in the quarter. That's pretty astonishing when we've seen apparel weak at many other players. So certainly they must be taking share there.
Yeah, stock's having its best day here since August, when it was up 20% in a day. So we'll see if we can top that. But quite an amazing performance out of Target this morning. For a closer look at the retail movers this morning, let's bring in Jerry Storch, of course, Storch Advisors, former Target Vice Chairman, as well as Deutsche's Managing Director, Paul Trussell. Guys, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning.
So we mentioned the price action today. You're eyeing 136 now?
Yes.
Is that December 19 or December 2020?
Yeah, we have a 12-month outlook, and we've raised our price target now to $136. Certainly the results today were extremely strong, both on the top line, as already mentioned, right? Strong positive traffic, also with 31% growth in digital sales. But even more impressive was the EBIT gain year over year of 22%. From an operating income standpoint, and they're doing this through lower fulfillment costs. They're also really improving the category mix, and they're taking a lot of share in discretionary categories. And we see a ton of catalysts ahead as we think about the newly rolled out Target Circle membership program, the Good and Gather on the food side, and we think there's a strong free cash flow profile here as well that's not only leading to remodeled stores today, but will buy back a ton of shares in the outer years.
Jerry, I'm wondering, when you think about Target, and they talk a lot about using everything together, stores and online, fulfilling from stores, lowering the cost by 40% or 90% if a customer actually comes in and picks it up themselves. But a lot of retailers offer this now, this buy online, pick up in store. Why is it working so well for Target and not as well for others? What's the difference?
Well, they're doing a great job, but keep in mind that 92.5% of Target sales are still store-based. You can see that in what they're up today. So that's what's remarkable, is that in this internet era, their store comp was 2.8%. That would have been good before the internet. That was a good number. And then they have the 31% internet growth on top of that. So they're doing a great job merging the two. They're going to keep growing. The 4.5% out of Target for a total comp, that's like what we used to do in the old days when the economy was just on fire. And by the way, people ask about the health of the consumer. One of the best signs I see that the consumer is very healthy is that in good times, Target beats Walmart. In bad times, Walmart beats Target. We've been saying that for like 3 decades. So Target did a 4.5 comp. Walmart did a 3.2% comp. Both still good, but Target better. The consumer is very, very strong.
But Jerry,
so good times they win.
I just want to stop you 1 second. What's the lesson here in terms of what we learned that Target has done right? I mean, we've been sitting in this desk with you for years now talking about all the pressures retailers are under, particularly mall-based retailers, but all across the board. These guys have done something over the last couple of years that's changed the paradigm, right?
Let me go through it. So first of all, they're value-based. And as we've discussed right here at this desk, the value retailers are doing great. It's not just Target, it's Target,
but not
Walmart.
all of them. Kohl's isn't doing so well in their value base.
I don't agree with you about Kohl's. Kohl's is an department store. Who could be worse? An apparel-focused department store. At least they're off the mall sometimes not. But look, they are apparel-focused. You said it yourself, apparel's been very weak. highly deflationary. Target's the first good apparel number I've seen in ages. Even Walmart said their apparel was poor. Target has always stood for apparel. They have a differentiated offering. All it's proving to me is that the customer is trading down to apparel, is trading at lower price points, and Kohl is stuck in the middle. And it's wonderful as Kohl's management is. They're a department store that's apparel focused. And beyond all of that, at the end of the day, as their business shifts to the internet, unlike many of these players, their economics degrade mightily. They have a very low average ticket.
All right,
it's
back
horrible
to
fulfill
the
it.
lessons
So,
on Target, though, because you're making your points. What were the other ones?
Okay, so Target is a differentiated player. To succeed in this area, you have to have a product nobody else has. Target's always stood for this, and there's a continued focus on the own label. You heard Brian talking about that today. We've been talking about that for decades at Target. There are products that you can't buy anywhere else, so you can't go somewhere else on the internet and buy it. You have to go to Target in order to get it. And they've done so differentiated product, value-based player, and they've done a great job on the internet. They've said, the heck with the old, traditional Amazonian model, not Amazon's current model, but the old model of the direct model of shipping from a DC, often, Timbuktu to your home. They're doing it from the stores, and that drives additional traffic for store pickup, for driving up to the store. They're leveraging what they own in order to succeed. A lot of retailers are watching as this takes place, but none of them have that combination of a fantastic store environment with positive comps and internet growth. By the way, a lot of these players, when they do their comp, it's a negative store number. Negative, along with a positive internet, which is destroying their economics. Target is both up.
Why hasn't the Kohl's partnership, the pickup partnership, worked? Or is it working and we just don't see it yet?
Look, I think it's too early to tell for Kohl's Amazon. We would actually argue that it is absolutely driving traffic
better
into
than it would have
the
been
box.
otherwise.
Certainly better than it would have been otherwise, but ultimately we think that what it comes down to in terms of differentiation between Target and a Kohl's is really selling and focused on national brands, all right, and what I think are very distinct value-based proprietary labels, and we really give Target a lot of credit for the way they've started from scratch and put out a Cat and Jack, which